if it goes too far
Yeah.
in that genetic
They become
trait,
brainless. They
it's
become.
yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
So
I've heard of them.
if it
They're one
wants
of
to go run really fast,
they're the
it eats
Kroot.
something that goes really fast.
The
Yep,
Kroot.
Groot. Yep, I
Okay.
fucking hate those. And
Not our fault.
after
I'm not
that
bad.
tangent, I hope we don't ever have to deal with that. Um,
Of course not.
is
Why would we
that
have to deal with that?
so for like I don't know if you know with the salamanders, they're Space Marine chapter, and out of all the Space Marine chapters, the salamanders are almost nice. I mean, they'll still like crush your head in for looking at them wrong, but
They're the
generally
most
they
sensible.
will. The yeah, they're sensible to an extent, to a
Yeah.
very thin extent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's been some stories where they'll gladly step in front of a bolter fire and waste half their chapter in order to help save civilians.
Yep.
Um, on the very opposite end, there is from the planet Krieg. Now, Krieg was trying to condense the story down very shortly, so before we end the stream, um, basically, Krieg was a planet under the Imperium of Man, a military planet, and they rebelled against the Imperium. So Imperium basically saturated bombed the planet, so nothing can live above the surface. They had to live underground and wear gas masks. So whenever you see a Krieg, they look like a World War One German
Nazi soldier. Yeah.
infantry soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a
Yeah.
gas mask in order to breathe.
Hmm?
And in order to atone for their planetary sin, they get their las gun, they put a bayonet on it, and they run headlong into the maelstrom of war. Whatever it is, it could be Tyranid, it could be a Chaos Space Marines charging at them, it could be a fortress that's impenetrable.
It could be an
They'll keep
adapting
throwing.
robotic
They'll keep.
soldier, or an undead
Yeah,
zombie monster, or an ever living
yeah.
void creature.
Whatever it is, they'll charge and they'll kill it in order to atone for their sins. Now they have commissars in there. Commissars usually tell soldiers like, "Hey, get out of the trench, fight." These commissars usually are instructed to hold them back from just going to just wasting their lives. Now, there was one siege that they were doing, not Verakas, but another siege they were doing. They were aided by the uh, uh, chapter of the Salamanders. I don't know
Salamanders.
why it's so hard for me to speak. Salamanders. Now,
It,
salamanders like protecting civilians. Doesn't matter if they're heretical, they may change, but civilians nonetheless. They're non-combatants. They should be protected. Well, um, the Kriegers were like, we gotta kill them. So the civilians were in a bunker, a protected bunker. Salamanders went in to get the civilians out. Well, the bunch of the Kriegers took their artillery unit and pointed the cannon right at the bunker, and then fired like a bunch of rounds into the bunker to blow it up. Well, the salamanders in that bunker survived and shielded the civilians. Well, the commander of the salamanders went back to the Krieg headquarters that were staging the artillery coordinates and whatnot, and basically threatened them to melt them alive with his melter and said, "What the fuck are you doing? Why are you shooting at me? I'm a space marine and I'm trying to fix civilians." And I said, "They're heretical." And he pointed the melter at where the Imperial commissars melted them, just like shot them, melted them alive, and said, "I'm taking charge of the whole entire army right now. You will shoot when I tell you to shoot. You won't. You'll lower your weapons when I tell you to lower your weapons." And the siege was a success, but a lot of lives were saved because he melted a commissar to ashes
the commissar
because
said
they
that
shot at him.
the commissars basically said, well, they were heretical, so we didn't care if you were in there because you would have survived anyway. And he turned to him and said, and firing upon a space marine is quite heretical, and then wasted the guy with his melter and goes, now, if anyone else has any problems, you can speak to me personally. And the room went quiet. And he goes, "You're now under my command. You will move when I tell you to move, fire when I tell you to move, and do what I tell you." And they just got right in the line. And they just said, "Yes, sir. No, sir." Yeah. Boom.
And the cool thing, kind of a scary thing with Death Corps of Krieg, is they're known to show no fear or feel fear.
Yeah, they felt fear that day.
They felt fear.
Yes, they did. Salamanders are the only group I can actually stand out of the Space Marines. Speaking of which, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and thank you for K-Man Story Time. I'm Kaiju K. With me here, Juggernaut Jared.
Hello.
Unless he's no longer Juggernaut Jared. Should I start calling you the Holy Juggernaut Jared at this point? We have the undead Necro Nick, or should I call you the Deathless? The only true member of the Empire below us, that of course is K-Man.
Hello, hello, hello.
And I am here, but I'm not here, Kaiju K. Folks, we are in part 2 of this wonderful series that I've been yelled at by being told that we better extend it or else we're going to get shot. So I'll talk to you guys about that one later. When we last left off, we first started with our first week of this, telling you about a little bit about our groups. So once again, just a quick one. Juggernaut was an endless killing machine army of machines. However, he has changed slightly. I'm not spoiling it. You shut up. Don't you spoil it. I was being cautious. I was being coy. Necro Nick
Look, we kind of have to tease the audience a little bit, you know.
I did with that first line. I did that with that first line. Necro Nick here, who you're going to see is a lot more than a zombie horde when he comes rushing you. You'll see those with his units. The always magnificent to have around K-Mod, whose knowledge of the frickin' lore is so extensive. He just has to throw a joke in every now and then, and you're never ready for them. You're never ready for this guy's jokes, so just get ready. And I am the here 1 second, gone again, Void Master, Kaiju K. Then we set to our second week, where apparently Barrett yawned, where we introduced you some of our infantry units, of course, ground units with living parts. Well, some of us have living parts. Juggernaut with his adapting soldiers, Neko with his chosen of Necros, K-Man with his sons and daughters. Was it sons and daughters of K-Man?
Yep, that was correct, yes.
Yeah. Of course, with me and then the Void Defenders. This week, we got to get a little higher tech. Once again, we're moving up the chain a little. This time we're bringing up Void Walkers and all that other wonderful stuff. I'll just give you a heads up. They're very specific with what vehicles are in the world of Warhammer 40k. Basically, Warhammer 40k has stated that all forms of vehicles are terrestrial-bound vehicles, in other words, planetary. These are incapable of moving through space. However, this covers everything from boats to hovercrafts to jets to walkers to mechs to horrible things that Necro has to wondrous things that Juggernaut has to who knows what K-Mod has. And I'm basically running the basic load. I feel like I'm the average guy here. I'm just borrowing.
Well, you are average man.
Hey, average man.
I have a quick interjection. One tidbit of information.
Yes.
With yes, all our vehicles are planetary.
Mm-hmm.
One slight caveat with that is with Titans and dreadnoughts and stuff like that, like heavy vehicles.
They can fight in space. They can move in space, etc. Yes.
Well, obviously, but they are transported by ships, and some of them can be sent to the warp and sent down to the planet by beacons. But
right.
But they a little bit harder to explain.
They can't fly up into space, can they? That dreadnought can't take its melted guns and aim it at the ground and fire and go, "I am Iron Man," and fire himself into space. No.
I wish, but no, it's more come down than go back up.
Right. I'm pretty sure that if you took a jet fighter and a deep breath, you could probably go into space and fight pretty well, but you're going to get absolutely clocked by the fighters that are designed to fight in space.
That is true, yeah.
Another thing I have to bring up is this. From a very specific friend of mine who has changed his name to Void Hound, which I'm loving, by the way, my buddy. He is one of my friends who's played Warhammer for the past 20 or so years. He says that, and I'm quoting this, for everyone who's watching, if we tell you that our vehicles have a cannon on them, just remember that that's not the only thing they can have. All vehicles, all units can have multiple weapons attached to them. There's different variants. So, for instance, a standard Rhino versus a Sisters Rhino versus a Commissar's Rhino versus a Salamander's Rhino. Rhinos are a transport vehicle. All of them are basically the Rhino body, which is different equipment laid in them. If you want to see something new, you just tell us, and we'll pop it in there. That being said, I'm sorry, Chuck. Am I boring you, my good sir?
I'm just waking
I'm
up.
sorry.
I did not know I was bothering the ancient robot technology.
No,
Or is he
no,
a
it-
robot?
No, he just said that he woke up.
Now, just like last time, we're going to go in the same order we went every time. So, with the little one with the hand like to raise their hand, who went first? Hi, little one, hi! Ironically, he is the shortest of the group, too. I just have to admit that.
Yeah.
But don't let that size fool you, though. Necro will f you up. He will. He's the most
Yeah.
volatile out of all of us. He is short, but his temper is far shorter. You get him angry, he's gonna wreck you. So we're gonna
He's
go
short, but he's like a pit bull.
This is better than my
His
daughter.
patience is like rice paper.
Yeah, my daughter
very,
is more
very
like a
thin.
chihuahua, you know. All right, so be surprised because Necro has changed since last time you met him. Last time we fought up against Necro, he was bringing a near endless supply of zombies that were just marching forward slowly to end your life. Now you find out why they're so powerful. So, without further ado, let us start with the first unit. Very easily called Led Zeppelin. No, I'm just kidding. Kidding. It's the Phantom Zeppelin. Just had to throw that. I had to throw that one, Necro. I had to throw that one. So,
I love it.
Necro's first vehicle, the Phantom Zeppelin. It's a strange creation of madness, and the soul of Phantom Zeppelins seem to phase in and out of combat. For some strange reason, they seem to be able to ignore most forms of physical combat while getting off their fog-like payload. However, fog is an interesting way of putting this. This fog seems to be a thick coating of disease and a strange, chaotic incense that causes his necrotic units to not only begin repairing themselves, but also seemingly vanish in and out like the fog itself, gaining a boost to their invasion, while causing foes within this cloud to be driven to states of confusion as their bodies are slowly devoured by the fog itself. If these vehicles are shot down, their pilots make sure to aim for the heaviest populated area and detonate, leaving a long, lingering cloud over the area. So these are floating zeppelins that are also basically a giant bomb. But they are a supportive unit as well, which is where it starts getting scary. A lot of these vehicles that Necro has are very support heavy, which I was not expecting Necro to have. Speaking of a strange vehicle, let's talk about his next one. This is the Death Rose Walker. Ooh. Just the name itself gives me a little bit of a scare there. This strange creation appears to be a festering Deathclaw class walker from the Silver Scythe Space Marines. Try saying that 3 times fast.
That.
Oh, ha 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 ha. Upon its back, it carries a large anti-tank twin cannon. However, appearances can be deceiving. It would appear that this machine walks as if it weren't human, seemingly using long, stretching yards as it runs. It's funny to see a walker run until you realize that there's something wrong. It would appear that something truly terrifying is on the walker. It's not being piloted by a man. In fact, within its gears, its pistons, and even its engine core lies a mass of dead plant matter. The unit loses an arm or a leg, its tendrils will grab the fallen appendage and reattach it quickly. This allows them for some amazing runs and amazing stretches that they can run, climb, and even pull themselves closer to enemy opponents. Upon their right arm, however, they have a nasty claw coated in a green glowing flame. And upon their left, ooh, you want to be careful with the left claw, because on the left claw is a massive acid toxin sprayer, capable of bathing its prey. But this is not the most terrifying thing about this vehicle. Oh no. Where you see its chest is where the true terror comes. Staring too closely at the chest reveals that it seems to be slit in the middle. As you approach, the chest actually opens, revealing a horrifying sight as a mass of barbed tongue-like vines, and a maw of curved fangs is ready to bite and devour all that it considers prey. Try to avoid being in front of these things. Try. That's not really a support unit. No, I wouldn't
It
consider it.
supports itself.
It
supports
supports
itself.
itself. It supports itself. All right, now we have the Chosen Walker. Now, of course, as usual, Necro has multiple walkers. This just happens to be the one I've landed on. The Chosen Walker offers better armor and maneuverability than its surprising hosts, which are the Chosen of Necros. Within its thick armored walls, it comes wielding a twin shredded shotgun on its left arm and a shielded cursed energy sword on its right arm that can feast on the blood of those it strikes. To cover its crippling weakness to air units, it has a shoulder-mounted flak cannon as well. Unlike the usual self of the Chosen, those within the Walker have learned how to maintain not only themselves but their allies as well. For you see, when they feed on blood, if any of that goes to excess, if they no longer require to be healed, it can flow to other enemies, or other Necros units, coating them with a boosted armor and health regeneration capability. So these are basically his Chosen of Necros, only they are much tougher to kill. Now for the big, this is the big one. This is the fun one. I love this thing. You guys have seen the pictures of it. They haven't, but seeming like a hybrid between a Rhino and a Predator tank. The Harvester tank, in its rusted paint with massive dozer shovel mounted on its forward cab, seems to be a standard unit of the Space Marines. However, it appears that it's no longer being used. It appears that there's no one inside at first. It produces an aura of disease and fear, helping it overwhelm and crush enemy attackers, while possessing four firing ports. But why, you might ask? Well, for the secret, terrifying power. See, as this vehicle moves around, it begins to collect the fallen corpses. And after some time, once it collects enough, it will spawn forth within its hull necrotic shambling Marines, which can then fire their weaponry outside of it. To top it all off, the standard model also comes with an autocannon and a Hellfire rocket battery. So these are one of these many support units now. Although it can take some enemies down, it can take a licking, its ability to recreate zombies makes it very terrifying. Against Necro, the longer the battle goes on, the stronger he becomes. Now
You want to kill me quick?
the Hades Helldrakes. Now, maybe K-Mod knows what a Helldrake is. Those at home,
Yes.
Helldrakes are living machines of demonic energy. They look like a wyvern and usually are equipped with weapons that cause fire damage. However, upon his birth, as the Daemon Prince of the Undead, Necro found these strange beasts have flocked towards him. Large draconic demons with a particular variant, seeming to have waited for his arrival. Or perhaps it was Tzeentch's plan for millenniums. They're capable of tearing enemy aircraft apart with their twin piston-driven claws, while their mob-based weapons are their true terror. Most carry Hades autocannons, as their fanged maws allow the 6 barrels to tear apart their prey. But it's more dangerous and fearful is to mount a necrosis flamethrower to bathe their targets in the diseased acids. Now for an interesting one. I did not tell Necro this one at first, but would you believe it if I told you that Necro actually has a standard unit? That's right. He actually has a Warhammer unit. Necro has the Necrotic, that's the name of his group, Thunderhawk.
Ooh, okay.
Piloted by forces unseen, the Necrotic Thunderhawk is 1 part bomber, 1 part troop deployment, and all parts held. Armed with Thunderhawk cannons, twin laser cannons, 4 heavy bolters, and 6 large guided bombs, as well as 4 firing ports. These massive weapons of war fly into a location and either fire their full payload or clear a route for their payload themselves, typically consisting of 2 Harvester tanks, 4 Chosen Walkers, or perhaps even 2 dozen troops. Basically, Necro flies into an area and says, I want them to land there. And they go, how many do you want to land? And he says, all of them. Now, you can throw this one out here. This next couple here are actually Necro's ideas I've had to fix a little. So this is pure Necro ideas. This is the stuff. You hear that laugh? This is the part where you start being skipped. So, one other thing I should mention is every one of these is technically a support weapon. So we start with his very simple very honest, very minute. You know, he's a very humble guy. We all know Necro, right? He's very humble. The Temple of Necros. Oh wait, I guess that takes the humbleness out. What appears to be a floating temple to an unknown deity holds a monstrous secret. These rotten temples are held together by demonic flesh and undying plant matter. Normally, they float above the ground where they can spread their eerie aura of fear and disease. But upon command, it can launch 4 tendrils into the ground below, anchoring in one place. Over time, these tendrils will cause a fungal matter to begin growing before it, which can slowly begin forming autocannon-like fungal turrets that spread necrotic energy to heal Necros units while damaging enemies. The very ground itself seems to become scaled. Walls become formed of demonic energy. And after a time, the true terror begins. If allowed to be left on its own devices, the temple itself can be used as a sacrificial location to form a seed of terror before it vanishes, leaving the seed amongst the turrets and the unholy ground to protect its growth. You guys might be asking what the unholy seed is. You'll be getting to that. That's the last object. Next is the necrotic termite. Ironically, it's another actual vehicle. However, this one is way worse. These units specialize in burrowing beneath the surface, emerging at chosen locations to begin their plan. From the outside, they seem identical to a termite transport. It's only when the door opens and the smell of death and mold wafts outward that the true shock comes forth. Upon finding a proper location, it begins to infect the area with death, decay, and viruses, as fungal parasites and fungal horrors slowly emerge from within to help spread it. If the shock weapon is not found quickly enough, it may be too late to stop the invasion. I couldn't think of a better name, so his next vehicle is the Corpse Recycler.
Ooh.
One of the largest units in the arsenal of the Lord of Necros. This massive vehicle in both size and armor seems like an unarmed vehicle cleaning the area of fallen units and vehicles. But that's just the start of something else. Something much, much worse. Carried upon 8 massive tires with multiple doors. These units slowly make their way around the battlefield, lashing out and grasping the dead and dying with... Oh, sorry. Of course you have to speed cloud. Battlefield, grasping the dead and dying, pulling them within their metal bodies with tendrils of demonic flesh, which they can use to defend themselves if necessary. But this is where the disease and chaotic energies truly begin, slowly warping the bodies, rending the metal and forming it differently. But out of the rear access comes beings warped by Necros. These units hold almost identical stats to their original cells, covered in fungus, scales. They're slower than their original selves, however, they're far hardier and now warped mentally, physically, and spiritually to follow the Lord of Death. Once again, the longer Necro exists, the worse the battles get. But, like I'm going to do with Juggernaut, I'm going to do it myself. I saved the best for last, folks. This is the truly terrifying unit. This is the Demon Flower of Necros. It starts with a single seed of terror. This unit begins to grow at a staggering rate. As it grows, it has a strange effect on the area around it. Slowly the ground is covered with diseased soil, the walls with demonic scales, the air with putrid scents. And over time, the scales themselves also grow to become defensive turrets, much like those used by the Temple of Necros. A maximum of 8 in an area per seed. Why per seed? You'll find out why. Those within the fog begin to heal. They get strength, firing, and defensive boosts, while the enemy units within it are slowed, confused, and slowly losing their minds and physical bodies. It's said that psychers that walk within this area have their minds slowly ebbed and ripped to shreds. The Flower of Necros itself is akin to an artillery piece, firing devastating globs of explosive necrotic energy into areas far exceeding what should be its reach. Upon growing to max size and collecting enough biomass, it can begin to prepare a seed, launching another seed of terror in any direction to root and begin its objective once more. Now, I'd like to bring up the fact that Necro has definitely aimed more towards the recycling and plant variety in this case. He has a lot of them.
Damn Necro trying to spread his seed.
Yeah.
Spread your seed wide. What did you just say? I mean, hi. How are you? Oof. All right, so
These two taught me well from the Gungrave playthrough.
oh, he's blaming us for the seed. He's blaming us for the seed. All right, that's Necrosis vehicles. Any questions, anybody? No.
Good lord. Good lord. I don't.
Necro's the main. Necro's the main reason why we have planet-sized busting weapons. That's what it is. He's quite literally the reason why we have those weapons. Because, oh my goodness, the only way you're gonna get rid of him is just with some freaking Drano Max or a flamethrower or something. You know, it's gonna have to happen. You're gonna have to flush that planet. Fun fact: Necro didn't mention this, but fun fact. The orcs have a very negative side effect to his own fungal spores. Apparently, since they are also fungal spores, but Necros are demonic and actually have energy behind them, they actually kill and feed off of the spores of the orcs. And they can create a special unit called an Orc Horror, which is basically a three-armed, six-legged creature that has all the abilities of an orc. He is quite literally what kills orcs. He kills orcs fast.
Oh, whoa.
But then
I kill orcs and make them my own.
Yeah. You ever see those raid sprays? The raid sprays kills bugs fast. Necro. All right. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's Juggernaut's turn. I have been waiting a week for this one, buddy. I've been waiting a week for this one. So this is going to be good. Oh, you guys are going to love this. You're going to find out that the Juggernaut's infantry was sent in by something else. So get ready, because we're going to go see Juggernaut's superpower here. But first, let's talk about his Chronos units, okay? Now, he, of course, is a Chronos Watcher. He specializes in watching time. He's not the keeper of time, however. But his original units were the Watchers. So I'll start with those 4 vehicles real quick. First of all, and I hate this one, it's the Chronos Adapting Tank from the makers of Adapting Soldiers. For those of you who watched the last episode, you know what this does, but for those who haven't, allow me to reiterate. Using technology similar to the Chronos Fully Adapt Soldier, these simple tanks, seemingly armored with a Chronos dilation shield which slows down incoming weapons so that they can avoid them, and phase cannons for their main armaments, can evolve as they meet combat and are simply destroyed. While it seems to be a step back, while to many this seems like a step back, they must worry about the constantly evolving threats. Given enough time, these tanks will gain extreme amounts of defense and offense, including upwards to Titan-busting weaponry and thicker armor than you could throw possible grenades at. In fact, at some points, the vehicles may even gain flight if it's required. So that's just his regular adapting tank. Those are his main battle tank. And then we have his modular transports. Now, most of the time when you hear the word modular, you think, okay, they're all different variants. But this time, they're not. No, this is a vehicle that can quite literally switch out its weapons on the fly with its time-dilating technology. So, if it goes against a bunch of enemies that are very strong against its main cannon or its main weapon, he can alter his weapon and armament so that he can actually fight better against it on the spot. Unlike the adapting tanks, which can grow stronger, he can just change to a better payload. If he fights against something that, say, fire isn't working against, why continue to use the fire variant when he could just swap out the cannon for a lightning shooter or something like that, you know? So, there's adapting and there's modular. Adapting and modular. The modular transport is a hovering vehicle with the ability to slip in and out of the time stream at its own pace, seeming to appear here, then there, than everywhere. Every time it does this, it leaves behind a small glitch. These vehicles continue to move along the path at the same speed and can be fired upon, however, they're not the real threat. No, the real threat comes from the modular transport's main ability. Its advantage is to switch out its mounted inside weapons, allowing it to adapt to the changing battlefield while carrying up to 10 infantry within its phasing armor. Once again, his main tank is going to be carrying a phase autocannon and a Hellfire rocket system on it. However, if it finds out that this isn't working, it can just go, hey, hang on a second, and suddenly its weapons are different. This gives him the ability of constantly being able to change out his firepower, while you not being able to change out as fast. The Kronos Modular VTOL. This is a fun one. Well, for some reason, bothered by planes and jets, the Kronos group, aka Juggernaut with his planes, jets, Modular VTOL is a series of quickly changing and adapting helicopter-like units, generally armed with EMP/ECM missiles, twin autocannons, and a small rocket pod. They can switch armor units quickly to help cover for their weaknesses on the battlefield. Quick, simple, you don't want to run into them. Just to give you a heads up, though, his modular VTOLs and his modular transports are auto-driven by AI. So they can be created very fast, very rapidly, and they know what they're doing. The next one, though. Ooh, the next one. It has such a simple name, but this thing is just evil. I present to you the Kronos Fortress. These vehicles very rarely show up on the battlefield, but when they do, it is truly a terror to behold. Large enough to block out the sky in some cases, the Kronos Fortress is one of the Chrono Keeper's greatest achievements. That's what I say, Chrono Watchers. Chrono Watchers' greatest achievements. Armed with twin repeating pulse cannons for defense and for resisting other fights, aka these pulse cannons are twin-firing twin pulse cannons, which basically means that he can wreck whatever's flying at it. The true terror of this massive creature is, of course, the massive factories, which are built upon it. Each Chrono Fortress comes armed with 2 adaptation factories to allow it to create adapting tanks and adapting soldiers for its own uses. However, it also packs up the ability to create most of the Kronos army in a split second.
See, you said that I could only have 5 factories on ground.
That's right, on ground, but the fortress is a flying unit.
Exactly.
Yep, in case anyone's going to start the pitchforks there. It's a flying unit. It technically isn't on the ground.
Nope.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm actually streaming right now.
Uh,
Hi, Juniper. How's it going?
so the massive fortresses allow a continuous effort to be put forth units onto the battle. When seen,
Hi, how's it going?
it's not unheard of for a full army to be sent to take it down before the factories release hordes to conquer them.
Especially or
So basically what it is it's Juggernaut's way of saying, hey, Necro can do it, so can I.
Yeah, pretty much.
It literally becomes a backwards forwards war there between those two. It just becomes a never-ending battle. Now, I have to add a little story into this.
Story time.
Small story, not large. So, as we all know, the Kronos Watchers came to this world because they sensed a disturbance that would be a galaxy-ending disturbance, a universe-ending disturbance. They were sent ahead of time as a forward scout. Upon gaining all kinds of information they could, including the massive armies that were fighting against them, the fact that the Tyranids were an overwhelming force that required some more help, the seemingly undead units, and the Necrons, which by the way do not help and want to give up their technology to Chrono over here. They had to report back to their leaders, the Kronos Keepers. These beings come from a land of pure good, the 3rd universe so far to be specialized here. As we have Necro, who's from the Chaos Warp, aka the Evil Land. We have me from the Void, aka the Neutral Land. And then we have from the Beyond, which is actually the Good Land. So just letting you know, Juggernaut works for the Man. Also, the Chronos Keepers do not approve of the God Emperor. Bad news, they don't trust anybody who puts the word God in their name and isn't one of them. So they're kind of racist. That being said, allow me to introduce you to the 6 new units that you'll get from the Chronos Keepers. We'll start off with the Chronos Angel. The Chronos Angel is a 12-foot tall walker class that's actually a living machine. It has living metal parts, it has a type of blood, everything like that. These creatures stand 12 foot tall and are the smallest of the Chronos Keepers. 12 feet tall puts them double my height easy.
Yep.
Necro, those are the ones that you were fanboying over.
Yeah, those were the cute little angel girls and boys. Yes, there are sexes in that group as well, but they can change their sex when they feel like it. So I guess it's kind of like a more advanced version of sex changes. Standing 12 foot tall, they are the smallest of the walkers that come armed with powerful magnetic shield drones. For those of you who don't know, look up Gundam Wing, look up the Mercurius Gundam or the Mercurius Walker, and you'll see what these are. They're basically floating energy shields that protect the unit within. Powerful photon swords and a photon staff. Their power comes from their ability to spread the word of good. By the way, that might sound familiar to people who know who the Tau are. Sending buffs to their allies and helping them regain health and faith. So basically, the Chronos Angels are a more mechanical form of what the Sisters of the Astrati would be. They are able to get miracle dice from their faith, so they're capable of doing some wacky stuff, wacky shenanigans. Not written here though. Now I have to go down the list because his strongest is at the top of the list. Oh, he's leaving. He's going. Where's he going? Is he biting someone?
Probably to the bathroom.
Don't be evil. Don't bite anybody. Don't do it. He's gonna bite somebody. I know what he is. So from the Chronos Angels, we get ourselves to the Chronos First Wing and the Chronos Second Wing. These are these strange units that were they were originally Chronos Angels, but they have now adapted the hybridization of the adapting technology to themselves. So these things are now an adaptable 18-foot tall living walker. The first wing, the Chronos Keeper's first wings are an unusual hybrid of Chronos Keeper module technology and the Chronos Walker angel-like mechas. The first flight specializes in melee combat. Their ability includes their ability to swiftly alter their melee weapons and ranged shoulder weapons, while their shielding and blessed form helps keep them alive and well. The blessed form is just another form of the faith dice, the hope dice. The Chronos Second Wing, also 18 foot tall, are similar to the first wing. These models are all about ranged artillery combat, firing burning javelins of light at grand distance before they explode into an even more brilliant form of light. While slower and heavily armored than the first wings, the second wings are also come with a standard Razor light cannon and a multi-wavelength assault blaster to help the closer ranged units until they can get within range to make the skies burn.
Sky burn.
That's their
Sky
thing.
burn.
The sky burn is their thing.
I love it. I love it.
All right, now that said that, we only have 3 more to deal with, and one of them is the strongest thing since sliced bread, which isn't actually strong, but you know what I'm saying. Now, this is a scary unit. This next one is a very scary unit, so you guys have to really just, you would have to take a lot of damage to take these things down. The Chronos Paladins. Known as the Walls of the Chronos Watchers. Paladins are a 28-foot tall, heavily armored, heavily shielded, multiple magnetic shield array unit, capable of using drones to provide support and aid. A large photon guitar-like weapon on its right arm, with its right palm hiding a photon missile launcher. They stand to protect their enemies. They will not fall. The saying, if they give an inch, give a mile, does not occur to these creatures, if they do not give an inch. They take the mile. However, it should be noted that their amongst the more dangerous models, simply because, unlike other angels who were very victorious, these angels were given the ability to freely think about the safety of living creatures around them. And as such, walkers are notorious for their hatred of most of the Space Marine chapters. These are the, we're going to save their lives and then take down the enemy. And the Space Marines would be more like, let's kill everything on our way and let the Emperor sort them out. And they have had run-ins. Oh, have they had run-ins. Now, for the next one, I have to admit that several of us used to call them bondage Medusas. You got to
They
admit,
still are.
yeah, they are, but these things have since risen in the ranks, become truly terrifying creatures. The Kronos Crusaders are a strange but powerful walker, looking as if it was a Medusa of lore. However, unlike the Medusa of lore, their intelligence is more powerful than you could ever imagine. They specialize in melee combat and the use of their fearful psionic abilities. They tend to be armed with photon or phase stabs, while their snake-like tendrils allow them to form and shape different weapons to be used at will. They basically have 4 tendrils that can become different weapons of force, phase, etc. All that being said, these massive 38-foot-long behemoths' true strength not only comes from their magnetic shields, but which can extend even further than their size, but their advanced dilution weapon. Built in the center of their foreheads, this eye slows down the very time flow around their targets, seemingly slowing them down to a stop and crystallizing them. These units, however, are not in fact frozen in crystal, but in fact frozen in time. They can be gently removed and brought to different locations where they can be released, studied, or at least healed. However, the temporary effect of this has a side effect, for it seems that those who gain their power from the warp, or have gained advanced psionics, have a more dangerous side effect to this, as those targets have been found in states of death, states of dying, or even states of pure insanity after being struck by this eye.
Ooh.
So if you're a demon, a follower of the warp perhaps, or a being who has high psionic capabilities, do not have this thing look at you. That being said, we have to end this with something, so let's end it with the most powerful of Juggernaut's army. The fortress.
Most powerful. But after that.
You think
After
that's
that.
bad? You think that's bad? Oh, you poor man.
I'm human.
Oh, you sweet summer child.
The next one is basically a Titan in size, okay? If you thought the Crusaders were big, this thing is a Titan in size. Upon receiving the report, the Kronos Keepers had sensed that a galaxy-wide extinction event was inevitable. They decided it was time to step in and aid the mortals. Of those, the most powerful were summoned to pilot these massive war mechs. The Kronos Seraphim is a massive walker, armed with a series of photon weapons from cannons to missiles to rockets to laser cannons to stop the event from happening. Their near unbreakable will is still short of the thickness of the armor they have and their necessity. They must stop this event from happening. They will stop this event from happening. They will end their main target, for they think that the true threat comes from the Chaos Warp.
Oh, okay.
So in a nutshell, the Kronos Seraphim is basically their version of a Titan. It's slow, capable of, flight. They kind of just hover up and just move slowly forward like they're a Roomba. And just unleash firepower. If you've read up on Titans in the game, you know that the best way to fight against a Titan is with another Titan.
Another Titan.
There's no standing ground. These things are just armor and weaponry. You could sit there all day and just fire these things, and they would just did I forget to turn off my oven? A bunch of missiles hit this thing. No, I think I shut it off. I think I shut it off. Oh, when did you guys get here? You know, that's a type. They're just beasts. So are there any...
When they're on the battlefield,
Mhm.
they can they can retreat back to the staging area
Mhm.
and then get repaired to go back into the
Oh yeah,
fight again.
and with Juggernaut's number of recovery units, including the Angels and the Paladins, they have no shortage of ways to be repaired on the field as well. Basically, it's just
Oof.
it's as if the name was written on it. I'm trying to read the name. It's SAMHEIN. Sam Henning.
Hmm.
It's a big treaded vehicle with massive shoulder cannons and arm cannons. It seems strangely familiar to me for some reason.
I want to call copyright infringement here.
Now,
Why does its initials say FAFO?
because it's true. It's fucking true. Okay. Okay. Now for the guy you've all come here for. We have K-Mod with his amazing army, who, by the way, I've been told by my friend here that he believes that K-Mod is in fact one of the missing chapters, because there was one of the missing chapters whose symbol was a boar.
Ah.
So he
Okay,
says,
cool.
he said,
Ah, thank you, bud.
in theory, that could be him. He could be in the game, but so could all of us. So take it away, K-Mod.
I know. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Before I get into my my very weak military armor, mechanized troops, there is smaller chapters that have been lost to time or expunged from records.
Yes.
So there's once we get to the space, there is some space chapters that have been lost to time, and they bridge on being heretical and devoted to the God Emperor. I'm getting to a lot of lore and stuff like that.
Hey, like I said, you
So
pick the day
when we
when
get
you
there,
want to
we'll
talk
get
the
there.
lore. You want to talk about that lore. You give me the day, and we'll do it, man. You and me.
Alrighty.
But until then, please tell me Earl Grey isn't part of this army.
Indeed, I shall. From the air to the ground, birds of terror they are called. They are fast as lightning, quiet as dust settling on the floor, but as deadly as our Lord's fury. There was a ledger transcribed over a planet, Kafin 556. From the skies we have arrived. It is now that we perform our charge, and the fealty to our Father, and the grace by our battle mother. I declare exterminatus upon this world.
Oh,
I hereby sign the death warrant of an entire world and condemn 1,000,000 souls to oblivion. May imperial justice account in all bounds. Our Father wills it. Signed by the Imperial Inquisitor Cain Bolt. So if we can't beat the war, we'll just blow the planet to smithereens.
Isn't that like the Space Marine motto? If we can't win, we'll make you lose.
Yeah. Nuke.
Nuke them from
Sorry,
So
orbit.
many nukes. So first up is my light or / recon squadron.
Okay.
They're called Vipers.
Okay.
Their armor is a light armor. They have sound dampeners, radar jamming tech, and digital imaging. So basically, when these guys fly in, you're not going to hear them, and your radars aren't going to pick them up when they come in.
These seem a lot like X-11 combat stealth suits, but keep going.
Maybe. Armaments are going to be 2 side-mounted iron rocket pods,
Ooh,
basically like Hellfire missiles. They fire frying pans, as one does. Twin-mounted auto guns. it sits three, so the pilot, radar tech, and gunner. The gunner is going to be on top of the plane, well, like a top bubble of the plane.
Right.
Then I got my fast strike fighter.
Mhm.
It's called a cast iron flyer. Armor light is going to be light again. It
Mhm.
seats two, a pilot, and a gunner.
Mhm.
Armament is going to be two melter pods, wing mounted two melter pods, six radar guided pans, a nose mounted dual auto cannons, and then a quad mounted auto cannons on top.
Damn.
Yeah. So they come in, they just buzz flybys.
They're like A-10 warthogs, huh?
Mm-hmm,
Just coming in, just blow up the area and get out of there real quick, and then everyone comes back in. Yo, no.
So we're gonna go for medium fighters.
Okay.
This is gonna be my what's call it air support superiority fighters. The first plane is called the punchback. So you get punched, you got to punch back.
Okay.
Armor is gonna be medium. Each seats one pilot. Armament is six sky strikers, so it's gonna go for aerial combat. Four radar guided pans. And then a heavy rotary bolter cannon that's just nose mounted, and two wing mounted las cannons.
Very nice. Very nice.
And then we have the Blessed Sky Bear. Armor's medium as well. Seats two pilot and radar tech. Armament is four wing mounted auto cannons, two plasma pods, six radar guided pans, and eight armor punchers. So armor punchers are another form of a rocket, and it looks like a gigantic fist, and it punches armor. Ergo, armor punchers.
So they're more like throwing
Kinda
just a
knows there.
silent slug, just a solid slug at them. Just
Yeah.
right through. Okay.
But it's
But a fist.
it's a fist. Haha.
It's a fist.
Hee hee ha ha. That's not wink wink.
He's also running. Apparently, he's also running the Green Arrow's quiver on his back. Oh,
Oh
love
yes.
arrow. Oh.
Now, I'm reading this from the perspective of an historian. Still don't know how this works, but a text priest. Sorry, I do apologize, my dear viewers. I still don't know how the text priest did this, but a nose-mounted repeating earth shaker. So they welded a howitzer to the nose of the plane.
Listen, if the
back
orcs,
in World War
if the orcs can throw rocks and with their imagination, their grenades, you can mount a freaking artillery piece. Okay.
Two. During World War II, the Germans had a aircraft. I think it was a Duck something. Kind of paraphrasing on it, but basically, it had like four cannons on the nose itself, and it was designed to punch like tanks and stuff like that. And it was an anti-tank plane, and that's what I was taking.
That's fine, man.
What's the word I'm looking for?
You're
The
taking
English language.
English language sucks. I know. You're just acknowledging its design and using it basically.
Yes, yeah. So that's my light recon to medium fighter.
Never mind.
Yeah.
What's up?
No, I'm looking on YouTube and it's showing that our vehicle thing is not live.
It's funny because I'm looking right at it. We are quite live.
Okay.
Continue. I'll watch it for
continue?
a few seconds, see if it stops.
Alright.
Keep going.
So now comes to the big guys. This is when the big guns come out.
Okay.
This is my heavy fighter / bombers.
Okay.
My first one coming up is called the Band-Aid dispenser. gives band-aids to people who need it. Armor is heavy, so it can take a beating.
Good,
So
good.
that's what it's meant to do.
Mhm.
It sees 14, so I've got a pilot, co-pilot, radar tech, Pale Inquisitor, Psyker, and Daughter of K-Man. So the reason why the Psyker's there just to make sure everything they don't get psyched up by another Psyker. Ha ha
Right,
ha
right.
ha ha.
It works.
We have Pale Inquisitor there because it is a heavy fighter bomber,
Mhm.
and by inquisitorial judgment can they perform their duties.
Okay.
Daughter came
Just a
in there
quick
just
thing.
to.
Oops, sorry, Keenan. Just as a quick thing, I just checked my Jogan. It's live on my end.
Okay. I'm
I
sorry.
am. It's okay. I'm having difficulty here. I'm having warnings pop up. It's okay. I actually have 2 warnings here right now.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for bringing it up, Jug. Though.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks.
At least one
I
of us is
just
paying
figured I'd
attention to
check
the
both.
freaking live stream. I'm glad Jug's watching. At least he can be like, we ended the live stream like 40 minutes ago. What?
I'm here rambling on
We're
my
all
like
just
plans I've
rambling
built.
onto the ghost.
This is the black screen, just mute.
We're all talking. And it's just like,
Hey, I'm still enjoying this, even if we weren't streaming this. I'm still enjoyed like telling you my machinations,
well,
what's
then
going on in my
you'll
noggin.
be surprised for the upcoming thing.
So, these they are combatants, but they making sure everything goes steady. So I have 4 gunners, 4 reloaders.
Mhm.
The armaments are going to be targeting jamming system. So
Okay.
yes, it will be picked up on radar because it is a big plane.
Right.
But a lot of systems are not a good chunk of the. That's what I'm looking for. Sorry, I do really apologize about this. A lot of weapon systems are either be visual or radar guided. So visual for like flat cannons, other artillery pieces, or radar. You pinpoint and fire it.
So this is just like basically, it's
So
just weaponry. It's just a pure weapon.
yeah.
Okay.
So this is gonna make it so you can't target. You can visually target and fire at it, but using radar, you can pick it on radar, but you can't use a radar to shoot it down.
Gotcha. So basically, you can't hit it unless you can see it.
Yes.
There we go.
So it's gonna have 2 Gatlin heavy repeating bolters on the left, and right side of the plane.
Mhm.
2 105 millimeter cannons, both on right sides of the plane, left and right sides of the plane, and then it's gonna have 2 ion pinpoint strikers. These weapons fire 2 different rounds of types of ammo.
Okay.
One type of ammo that can be loaded can fire pylons that send an electroshock blast onto the ground.
Mhm.
The other type of ammo that can be fired helps so we can void shields. So void shields primarily are on Titans.
Okay.
So it helps to weaken the shield to a minute extent, but some. Usually Titans go up against Titans. These guys can help a little bit, but not a lot.
Hey, you're thinking damage to Titan.
And
They're
then
an improvement.
yeah. So here is the doozy, the one that's gonna make people question their sanity a little bit. More confusion of anything, but enjoy the ride, fine fellows. You're in the train right now. You can't hop off.
Okay. I'm aboard a train.
How
And
much do you place a bet on that motherfucker?
Ooh, you guys are gonna love this one.
All right.
It is called. Oh no! What is that?
Sounds like most of your army so far.
Oh,
The
what was
armor
that?
on oh no, what is that? The Pale Inquisitor has not declassified that information. So even I don't know what the armor is. That is a perfect start to what this is.
Okay. So what I'm guessing is you
From
don't know
what-
its size, shape, armament, weaponry, what it is, where it comes from, who built it, what makes it, what runs it.
Oh, you'll love this. You're gonna love this.
Okay.
From what little we know, it spawns in from the Grand Inquisitor Earl Grey's plane of existence.
Oh God!
Battle action reports state that this flying craft blinks into the battlefield. When it is on the field, it blasts music. Reports say it varies from holy prayers that go on a loop. It goes back, flies back and forth, like bombing runs, but just plays music.
Okay.
Holy prayers,
Mhm.
funeral music,
Mhm.
hocus pocus, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, to clown music, or to pure heartfelt laughter.
Oh boy.
So it could be a variety of one of these musics playing or sounds playing when it blinks into the battlefield.
What the is that?
Yeah. Here's the thing. When the bomb bay doors open, then it starts. It ranges from massive boulders raining from the sky to wooden barrels. They're just wooden barrels. They're not filled with anything. It's just wooden barrels. Imagine a plane coming down, flying through the sky. Bomb bay doors open, and someone's just
No.
chucking out whatever.
Do you know what a regular barrel weighs? We're talking like an 80 to 100 pound object. Free falling, reaching terminal velocity, and then hitting something. This ain't a penny
Yeah.
off the Empire State Building that'll give you a skull crack. This is an object that will smash. We're talking collapsing buildings here. We're talking even if you're in a
Yeah.
steel metal tank, it's going to start denting you. The boulders
So-
are even scarier.
Yeah. Then paint will fall from the bomb bay doors. When the paint lands on the ground, it will spawn painted octopus. And it will grab and hold anything within its reach.
Oh,
And
That's
then the
awfully scary.
Sire Soul will enter Earl Grey's dimension.
oh
If it can get a
no.
hold of you for long enough, it'll just drag you into this paint. Wherever the paint landed, it'll
Oh,
drag you to the pool,
no.
and then boom.
Oh no.
What happens to that person is just whatever happens. I pray I don't know what happens.
What?
Then it will come out of the plane will be loose boots. Just boots. Boots will just fall from the sky. To currency of said world. So coins, money, whatever the currency of that world they're fighting on, it just loads of it. Loose. It won't be like bulk things. It'll just loose coins and money will fall from the sky.
On my world, our
Um,
type of money is 16-pound blocks of steel. Uh-oh.
Wow. There you go. No. Leaflets on how to make tea. Or food and medical aid. It doesn't define where it's gonna land. It just lands.
I'm gonna jump out, guys. I'll catch you later. Lift me with your legs. I'm out of here. Lift me with your legs. I'm out of here.
So, or it will drop a 900-pound plasma charge. On top of everything else, or just drop 900-pound plasma charge.
Oh, hooray!
Reports have stated that a whole train, a 11-car train, will fall from the plane and it will start playing the Thomas the Tank Engine theme song while it falls from the sky. Now, when the train lands, it will just be a train. It won't fire or do anything. It'll just be a train that's just oof. So now you have a fucking train in the middle of the battlefield.
Listen, as long as it doesn't have a face and a scream for the conductor, I'm fine. Thomas realized he wasn't on the track. Thomas was in the love drum.
So, my favorite part about this, the whole thing, is I don't remember everything else that's falling from this craft from Earl Grey's dimension. A whole skeletonized marching band will parachute in and they'll play. But once they land and disassemble because they land on the ground, they'll reassemble, form into marching band lines, and start play, but they'll be slightly out of tune. They could play marching bands songs, Stars and Stripes, it's whatever. Plus,
wait.
reports have said that if you destroy one of the skeletons that are in the marching band, one will form from the dead's corpse and just become bigger, and they'll keep playing. And they'll march headlong into the enemy trenches.
So what you're saying is this is a skeleton, correct?
Yep.
So it would
Full on
be,
marching band.
and you're saying so skeletons are like an undead thing, right?
Yeah, slightly.
Hi,
Because they're
Metro, how you
from
doing?
they're from
Hi,
Earl Grey's dimension. So they'll just get bigger and bigger each time you kill one of them. Another one forms up from a corpse.
But what if there
they'll-
is no corpse?
They'll just keep spawning. They'll reassemble themselves. But if their corpses alone, they'll get melted from a plasma bolt or whatever, or grenade going off. They'll grab another corpse, render its flesh so it's a skeleton, and pick up their instrument again, and then start playing. They'll go headlong into wherever the enemy is. They won't
Man.
attack the enemy. They'll just get in the way. So they'll block tanks, infantry. They'll walk into trenches, start playing. But they're slightly out of tune. So it's not like a perfect song. It's just
Ugh,
more noise than anything.
it would be annoying. Ugh.
The latest reports state that troops, K-Man's troops, have heard, "You there, build me something." A massive speaker that booms from this craft. And then sequoia trees will start falling from the flying craft. We don't know what this craft wants us to build. Damage is done to both sides.
Sequoia tree? Do you know how
We
big
have
a sequoia
instructed
tree
our
is?
we've instructed our troops to fall back to our defensive bunkers and stuff, and pray that the trees stop falling. But it's gone on for hours.
Ah.
So it comes to basically a standstill because there's so many fallen sequoia trees. And then it blinks back out of our dimension.
Sequoia rhymes with fire. Oh, sure it does. Wow. That's actually a scary unit. It actually seems like it has no actual rhyme or reason other than to appear, cause distractions, cause damage, and then leave.
I got 2 more flying craft, and then I'm going to start on my armor core. So the next craft is a CZ-1158. It's a troop transport. It can carry 160 troops, 40 space marine, and can drop off munitions and supplies. The RS-22334 is equipped to carry 200 dreadnoughts if needed, 100 heavy tanks, or 200 space marines and $150 a K-man. This troop carrier can be fitted to haul any and all equipment excluding Titans with pinpoint ion corkscrew cannons.
Big.
So these are
Big.
able to drill holes into fortresses and stuff like that with enough firepower, able to drill a hole and just like punch right through to get into like citadels and stuff like that.
Thumbs up, Necro.
Now-
Thumbs up.
Onto my armor core. That was just my plans and stuff like that. Onto my armor core. Booby doo 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 doo.
What? Okay, man, your armor core is at number 6.
One of them is number 6, yes. Armor
He doesn't
core.
get the joke.
No, you get the joke. It's okay. It's okay if you didn't get the joke, dude.
I'm sorry. It kind of went over my head.
Did you have one named 8-Baller?
No.
9-baller,
sorry,
maybe?
it's not. So, this is my scouting troop. It's called the Sparrow. Armor's gonna be light. It seats 4. It's gonna have 2 gunners, a tech priest, and a psyker. Armament for this is gonna be it's a 6-wheel vehicle. It has a 60mm cannon with 20 radar guided or auto launched armor punchers on it. So imagine like a APC. That's the best description I can give right now.
Okay.
Next is a Haytech KT9 Wasp. It's a scout speeder bike. It's a single seater with a quad mounted las gun on it.
Oh boy.
Then next is gonna be my medium tanks. It's called the fire hose.
Mhm.
Armor is gonna be medium. It's gonna hold 2 firefighters in the fire hose. Armaments is gonna be a melter cannon with a top mounted repeating heavy bolter.
Okay.
The okay with this fire hose, when it is rolling, it will light itself on fire. So now it's just a rolling tank that's on fire. That fires few melted lava. Or melter, I should say. My next tank is the TTK-95. Armor's gonna be medium. Armament is a 108mm cannon
Mhm.
with a top mounted las repeating rifle.
Okay.
If not firing, it will disguise itself as a rusted dead tank on the battlefield.
Not bad.
So enemy troops won't move through it, will drive by it, and hopefully not pay attention that it's an actual active tank. And then when it turns its main turret on, boom, normal tank, bang, bang, bang. My
That
second
would make me
tank-
nervous. That would make me nervous. If I drove by one of them and they opened fire on me, I'd be firing every tank on the way down. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be running out of resources. Rusty tank!
My
You just better be glad that
That's one way to
those
do it.
freaking recyclers doesn't come by and grab your tank by accident, thinking it's some kind of wreck.
boom. My second tank is a ZZY 661. Armor is going to be heavy. Armaments is a dual mounted heavy Gecko class cannons with void shield. So the Gecko class cannons are built to take down citadels and punch through citadel armor. Citadel armor consists of many layers of void shields, and this helps to punch through it. My other tank is the KTY-88. Armor is going to be heavy, so it's this very slow moving tank.
Okay.
Armament is an AKB-5 class Planet Breaker, which is a 250mm main cannon.
Yeah.
That's my mobile artillery tank.
Oh,
for garages
okay.
and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I have
Ooh.
usually Earthshakers are meant for infantry. This are my like I can move it up without manually having to disassemble my Earthshaker.
Okay.
So it's like
How does
I
that
think it's
thing
called
not
like
go flying back 40 miles when it fires? By the way, I just gotta ask. I mean, that's
40k lore.
okay. I mean, I'm just gonna say yes. It is Warhammer 40k. I understand, but even Hitler had something that big, and it went backwards down the train tracks every time it fired. There's a reason why some artillery pieces are stationary, my friend. All right, keep going though.
Yeah.
Sorry. Keep going.
So, oof, you're gonna. I think Necro's gonna love this one. As far as I don't know if he's loved any other of my tanks that I've made or anything.
He really likes your
It's
undead
called-
bandstand. It'll hit his territory and become his.
They're called the Laughing Skulls. Everything else has been a couple letters and a number. This one we call Laughing Skull. Armor is heavy, so it's slow moving tank. This tank launches pans of fire. These are jagged. For some reason, they have a red imprint of an outliner with a man with a hatchet. If enough pans hit their target, it will rip through armor like a chain sword through flesh. Pans may explode on impact as well.
And
Hmm.
I opened the doors. Keep going. Keep going, man.
Huh?
50 Shades of Earl Grey. What the hell, Jug?
Yes, Daddy, I'm home.
Good
Please,
one, Jug. Good
Please
one.
hurry up, K-Mod, before we're shot to death here. Come on.
Oh yeah. Oh, almost done. Almost done. You gave the man with the most knowledge of 40k and said, "Hey, build something."
No, I'm just saying like the
I-
40 colors of Earl Grey. You need to hurry up. They're slowly getting worse as Juggernaut's looking. You need to make this hurry up.
Oh.
It's gonna go bad after a while if we're not careful.
So I have blessed dreadnoughts. Armaments are gonna be storm bolters, Volker miniguns, melters, chain swords. I have a Devastator class Titan. Weapons are gonna be warp cannons
Mhm.
and paint buckets. They're able to attach turbo laser cannons and plasma blast guns, Hellfire rocket launchers as well.
You need that. You need it.
Paint buckets and warp cannons. Paint buckets are basically another weapon from Earl Grey, where they just douse Titans, and it kind of melts away. It's like paint thinner,
trying to get
so it
onto
melts
your
away the warp shields with paint buckets. Warp cannons, if um enemies are hit with warp cannons, instead of exploding, it just opens a warp and then it sends them into another dimension. It could be to the void, or it could be just planes of Slanesh or planes of Papa Nurgle. So
That's a mean weapon.
it's up in the air where
That's a mean weapon.
yes,
That is a mean
for a
weapon.
class for a Titan. I have another one very quickly. I only have two more left. Sorry.
No problem.
The Spectral Titan.
Mhm.
Same weapons as normal Titan. It does have stealth panels, but the stealth panels don't work because it's a freaking Titan. So what happens is it doesn't work right, so it blinks in and out of our dimension. Because why not? Because
That'd be
when you leave the
scarier.
ground,
That'd be scarier.
when you leave the yeah,
Holy crap, this thing takes one
reason-
step and then it vanishes and it's like 400 feet forward now. That's scary.
there's a reason why you don't leave the Grand Inquisitor with Titan parts. And then last but not least, my kind of haha vehicle is from the warp with strict guidance, meaning that 4 silver knights and a mother of battle must keep watch in order to make sure the caster does not become corrupted by a chaos god. Through constant prayers, a high-ranking daughter of Cayman may bring from the warp a car, a clown car, for in fact, a double-decker bus, a regiment of armed bears the size of custodians, and boars and electrified crocodiles.
Hi.
For some reason,
when the hell does the circus come to town?
This is not the
Earl
first time
Grey.
he's mentioned circus.
yeah. Have you not been paying attention, Jug?
Yes.
So, the caster,
Holy shit.
the caster will know the spell, the incantation has worked properly when she hears clown horns start sounding from the deep. When the double-decker bus has unloaded, it'll become a single-decker bus, and then will drive headlong into whatever enemy target is in its area and detonate. So now I have your custodian-sized beasts on the field, and that is the end of my
That's his TED talk.
completely bonkers sideways armor.
I
and
will
whatnot.
say that some of those units do seem impressive, and some of them seem like feather dreams. But then again, once again, I know what the orcs are capable of. That's just my rule of thumb when it comes to it. And once again, Juggernaut sharing something here. Coke, Colombian, pure. No. Well, folks, I would like to remind you all that we are, of course, doing a donation drive for the American Cancer Society. The link is in the description to the right and will be added to the bottom when we're ready. And I guess I'll just round it out with my units just to make sure that we have something average for people to throw things at.
I do apologize if I took up too much time
No,
with my creation.
dude, we had till 9:30. We got plenty of time. Plenty of time. I'm scared of the next one. This one's fine. It's the next one I'm scared of.
I can't wait.
I'm absolutely terrified of the Space Force that's coming on because I know that we true have Space Force. Zoltan.
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 You know Zoltan. You know it. Okay. But unfortunately, compared to you guys, my units are actually very simple creatures. So, I'll be able to go through this rather quickly. Although I will mention that a few of these units may seem surprising because apparently the void itself actually links to multiple universes, and we may have gotten a little bit of friendship from a certain universe. See if you can catch it. So we start off with the simpleness. My transport, the Void Rhino. The Voidborn still use rhinos, however, our models seem to be more a form of a Grav Rhino. The Void Rhinos are jack of all trades used by all armies of the Void. These include the Void Rhino model Assault, which is a sturdy model that is that is armed with a redemption cannon, 4 firing ports, and advanced stealth technology used by our Voidborn elites for hit and run against other vehicles and to transport our transportation from our targets to other target locations. We have the model Star, a shimmering model. The Rhino is armed with hard light shields, 2 firing ports, and twin solar cannons. The Sisters of Void Sight use these to protect and rescue those in need, melt enemy armor, and can even devastate enemy emplacements. The model Chorus. This is a speaker-adorned Rhino model. It is armed with a speakers to spread joyful hymns of defense and healing, or nasty curses that weaken and lower the enemy morale. A massive sound cannon that shakes through enemies, striking them non-protected. Shakes through enemies, striking those not protected properly. The Sisters of the Voids slowly crawl these vehicles forward with their passengers safe and sound while singing out choruses and shaking enemies to their knees. And the final is the model Fog, often an unseen threat surrounded by a void mist generator. These unusual rhinos carry a rapid flat cannon, void spewers with modified heavy flamers, and a fog gate technology. The Sisters of the Void Scale employ these strange models to help them bring their allies across great areas of land, support watch units, or spread the power within the Void's fog. We have our Void suits. There's somebody there. Okay. One second, guys. We have a visitor, perhaps. Watch the top block. Okay, I'll be right back, guys. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Talk amongst
Mhm.
yourselves.
Take your time.
With the power.
So
I
this
can-
one time
Goddamn,
at
I've had
band
a
camp.
I had a flute.
Well, any of them are broken. I'll just fix them real quick.
Sorry, K-Man. I had
Watch
to
the
post
cats.
those
Ah.
Earl Grey tea memes.
Oh, I love them. They're good.
What did you
I
think
love-
of the What did you think of the frying pan tank?
I love it.
No, Cody. You too. You stay here.
But I have to say, until you fully hear what Kaiju has to say about his tanks and whatnot, both of you and Jug are terrifying.
Let's
Are honestly
all
just fucking terrifying.
let's all vote for Kaiju.
Okay, yeah, I'm down.
Agony.
But it
Agony.
Because considering he can't hear us.
true. Unless he listens to the recording, which I don't know.
All right. Hopefully, I didn't bore them too much.
Oh no.
Oh no, you didn't bore us whatsoever, Kaiju.
Okay,
You didn't miss anything.
good.
No.
You didn't miss anything.
Anything.
The Void Warsuits. These devastating walkers are used exclusively by the elites of the Trinity Sisterhood. Each suit was blessed by the Void itself, anointed by the Lord and Lady Helsing, crafted by the Silver Division, to grant them even greater power than a standard Paragon Warsuit. These include the Void Gaze Warsuit. The most dangerous of the warsuits, these suits are armed with hollow bolters, energy shields, and light construct generators. These units can become invisible, summon drone support, and summon hardlight walls, all while their hollow bolters, powerful weapons firing hardlight constructed bolts, mow down all but the toughest of foes. Void's Voice, stronger and heavier than the typical Paragon warsuit. These are armed with hymn staves, sonic cannons, and shoulder-mounted tremor missile launchers. The hymn staffs are a Warhammer with a built-in microphone that have a sonic attack dial attached to them, which allows them to sing choruses to help, hinder, or simply destroy their enemies. While their sonic cannon makes them wonderful for siege weaponry. The tremor missiles fire energy-based sonic charges that, upon detonation, cause powerful shockwaves. These ladies in armor are pillar defense and defense crushing capabilities. And the Void's Gale Warsuit. These are typically more agile than the others, armed with Hellfrost maces, heavy bolter shield combine weapons, and mist generators mounted on their shoulders. They're typically specialized in void stepping throughout the battlefield and spreading fear and confusion to those that surround. Because in the void's mist, what could happen is eventually you could see what was once one of the Void Gale warsuits, and then eyes and a terrifying mouth. Void Sentinels. We're getting there. Yep. This is the first one that you might be suggested. These are piloted by elite soldiers. Void Sentinels seem more like an idle machinist's dreams than actual walkers. These walkers can transform from high-speed jets armed with twin heavy bolters, T-50 bombs, and rip wave missiles that fly overhead, obliterating all forms of combat before transforming into a ground-based walker capable of smashing foes with a Leviathan siege claws, before obliterating them with a melt-a-gun, bolters, and missiles, and then leaping into the skies, transforming once again. Then we have the Void Mist Generators, another transforming walker. The Mist engines can go from high-speed light tank formation, generally armed with Hellfrost cannons or Hellfrost missile launchers, that can suddenly transform into a heavy armor shield, Leviathan Siege Claw equipped walker. One should be extremely careful around these as the pilots tend to be more offensive-minded and less defensive-minded, even firing dangerous siege weapons mounted on them at close-range targets. The Void Battle Tank. Mounted with various main cannons, the main battle tank holds prize that the Silver Hand left within it. These heavy-duty tanks can transform into stationary siege cannons armed with 155mm sonic burst shells, while regularly armed with 120mm cannons as the main weapon. This can vary, however. Once transformed, its true weapons can emerge and lay waste to enemy emplacements. And now, I've mentioned the Silver Hand a few times. I even mentioned at the beginning, but who are the Silver Hand? Well, the Silver Hand are a group of individuals that we found drifting in the void at one point. They, along with others who we found in the void, joined us and swore that they would protect us. Their secret, however, was the fact that they were all AI-engineered individuals, beings that were created to house AI hard drives, each one of them, and thus created their own centralized mind on our planet. Amongst these include the Silverhand Support Transport. The Silverhand, only mentioned in Hush Whispers, is an AI-controlled group of machines that have sworn their aid to the Voidborn. One such way is this particular unit, a flying AI ship capable of healing allies, transporting the injured, and even summoning ground and air drones to defend themselves while doing such tasks. These are a terrifying sight to behold if it weren't for their stealth technology hiding them.
Oof.
The Silverhand Light Assault Walker. These are a 12-foot tall walker, so about as tall as Juggernaut's Angels. They're created by Silverhand Legions. They're armed with Hellfrost missiles, twin heavy bolters, and a Tesla cannon. Much stronger in armor and ammunition due to the concepts of the Void Stream, these weapons are of war march forward, destroying everything in their sight. Beware, as many Silverhand units cannot be swayed or controlled or affected by psionic capabilities. Then we have the Heavy Walker. From 12 foot tall to 23 foot tall, these four machines, the Heavy Assault Walkers, are a terrifying Silverhand unit. They are armed with massive long-range rail guns, solid impulse shields, anti-air rockets, and generally anti-ground missiles. They can even strike down foes in melee with their Leviathan siege claws. Much to the sadness of many orc, these AI-controlled walkers not only learn from combat, but when one is defeated, it simply fades out of existence and returns from the void once more. Like all of my units, if you kill one of us, we just pop back up onto the home planet. You can't get rid of us. The Silverhand Command Carrier, generally used to help move and deploy the Silverhand Command Titans. We'll get to those in a minute. The Command Carrier is an extremely large Silverhand support transport with its cadre of fighter drones, bomber drones, repair drones, portal generators, shields, anti-air missiles, and drone creation factories to cover all of its needs. Basically, they're a giant flying swarm unit. Should sound familiar to some of my friends who've been playing certain video games. They generally show up in areas with a Command Titan in tow before they release their swarms of drones to help and aid and support the unit. It is said if 3 or more Silverhand command carriers are in an area, all should be fearful, because it can mean only one thing, that a Galaxy-class Titan has been released on the planet. Of course, I don't have my Galaxy-class Titan on the planet, but I do have the Silverhand Command Titan, my last one. One of the largest walkers ever created, Silverhand Command Titans are a terror to even move, the biggest terror to move across a surface of a planet. Command Titans are massive in scale, however, slow mobility suffers from an even more terrifying secret. These CTs can recover from any injuries, no matter how powerful, over time. Upon receiving a signal, they will even stand once again and prepare for combat. The literal battle fortresses generally come equipped with powerful speakers, spreading the messages, T-800 cannons to clear the battlefield of men, javelin missile launchers for swarms of enemies, 330mm barrage cannons, and its mighty Black Hammer siege melee weapon. When they're preparing to fire their 330mm barrage cannons, they enter siege mode, which allows it to draw forth one other weapon, the massive Punisher cannon. Once it enters siege mode, its main weapons are designed to lock on and strike fast against air targets and incoming threats while it prepares to fire its Punisher cannon. The energy fires a devastating ionic storm shot that causes a deadly storm of lightning, plasma, and void portals to erupt over the area it was shot. Just to give you guys a heads up, those Silverhand carriers and all those other units, they exist. They exist in another game world. One of my favorite video game worlds, so there's that. So are there any questions about my units?
You're terrifying. You're terrifying.
I am
Stay
not,
here.
I'm not terrifying. I am not a terrifying guy. If we're gonna look at the shift of power here, we have to look at the actual shift of power. Nick's super weapon, aka the Flowers of Necros, are a high-powered artillery unit that brings its own healing generator and defenses to the battlefield and can create more of them rapidly. For Juggernaut, need I say more than the Seraphim? A literal walking fortress of weaponry. And for you, my friend, do we need to start talking about your Titan?
I was giving you a compliment.
I know you were giving me a compliment. I really appreciate it. But like, if we look at, I'm like the average dude in this group. I am average man. I have a lot of things backing me up, but I got a lot of things holding me back too.
But the cool thing with you, I give comments where it's due.
Mhm.
With my guys, if my tank is destroyed, I have to go build a new one. With
Mhm.
you, it just goes back into the void and it comes back into the fight. I don't know if you're able to do that, but it
I
sounds
can't
like
agree with that, Juggernaut. I agree with that, Juggernaut.
I do too. They can't exactly come back. I mean, if you're attacking my main planets within my within the void, you're screwed. Because you'll kill one of us, and then we'll just be behind you or be to the left of you or something like that. That's just how we work. But as far as recovering resources and capture soldiers and everything, we don't have any loss of that. You can blow up 50 of our tanks, and we lose nothing from losing that 50 tanks, other than a few days of travel. That's what my guy's advantage is. For Necro, you can keep killing his guys, but if you ain't using fire or explosives, his guys are going to keep getting back up. And the longer the battle goes, the more powerful Necro becomes. For Juggernaut, Juggernaut's magnetic shields of his Seraphims and everything aren't like body type. They go up in an area around him, which means he can have interlapping shield generators. Once his angels start coming towards you, once those Chronos Keepers start coming towards you, then you have a lot of defense you got to tear down really fast. And as for you, well, besides the fact that you have a really unstoppable air unit that keeps dropping and bombarding random on people, which is terrifying enough, most of your weapons of war are well documented and well studied out weapons that you basically brought to the world of Warhammer. My guys are basically the just leave us alone. We'll leave you alone. You come with us. It's a bad day. Right now, my Void's capabilities affect all of you guys. So you really have no reason to come fight me. And as long as you're not within range of the Void, or the range that we can travel outside of the Void, we can't touch you. Like I said, I'm drawing a little map right now of where we all are. And right now, the closest one to me would be Necro. Because the Void is large enough to eventually encompass one of the big sections of the Chaos Warp. That's what our goal is. But other than that, we are just... Oh, boy.
So, Necro's next to the Eye of Terror?
Yes.
I would assume?
Yes, Necro's actually very close to the Eye of Terror. He's a newly created Daemon Prince, so he's not strong enough to, like, mass produce away, but he is taking a few planets here and there. Juggernaut is from the northernmost reaches, and that's just where his soldiers are showing up. He's like the Tyranid, only his soldiers are coming through. We haven't seen the Eye yet, which is the big terrifying Tyranid. We haven't seen his Eye yet, which is the Chronos Keepers. And as for you, you are basically on the other side of the Chaos Warp, a good distance away. And me, I'm like basically just going up towards the Chaos Group. In fact, all of us are basically found around the Chaos Warp. That's the goal.
Oh, okay.
My guys are trying to silence the warp. That's the thing. That's what my guys' goal is. We want to enter the warp and silence it.
So, when the warp is silenced and when your goal is completed, will people be able to transverse the warp, or just it be no longer feasible to go into different systems?
You'll be able to transverse what is left, but it won't be the warp.
Be something else?
The Void was created by the progenitors as a way to clean up the warp. Our very existence is bane of the warp. So
Okay.
once we start to enter the warp, we will encompass the warp, and basically we will slowly just nerf it out of existence.
Uh,
But then again, how many
So-
different forms of galaxies are there? We're running on 4 right now. We have the Chaos Warp.
So,
Oh, go on.
I have a feeling for most of my vehicles, there's just radios playing on them that say, "I get knocked down, but
Yeah, basically,
Get up.
basically, that's basically your entire theme song, Necro.
I know."
Your song list includes Dragula and We Get Knocked Down. I know those two are at least on there. Juggernaut is running the freaking James Bond theme in the background, and then basically Holy Holy Gonna Smack You Up starts playing when he gets closer to you. And well, we've already heard what his music is playing because he's already talked about his main flight ship going over playing carnival music and hymns and everything.
No, my other song's gonna be "Move, Bitch, Get Out the Way."
Move! Get out the way! His Titan just rails somebody against the wall. Move! Bam!
with the craziness is, even my own troops have to flee the battlefield and get back to safety because we don't know what's gonna happen. It's like,
It sounds bad.
Yeah, I didn't bring a traditional Titan to the game.
No, you brought a terrifying Titan.
You,
so I'd have to double check on this, but no one really brought any dreadnoughts, do they? Except for me.
My army does not consist of dreadnoughts because we don't feel that they are they cannot convert
Effective.
into the symbiotes. They're too much
Oh,
machine and
because
too
they'll
little man.
die.
Yeah, just like the
Yeah.
Space Marines were too much machine and not enough man. So that's why the Blood Ravens who were attacking us died, or Blood Angels.
Oh, okay.
So
Gotcha,
we can
gotcha.
possess beings, but we can't possess beings that are cybernetically changed or have too much metal in them. So like we couldn't touch any of Juggernaut stuff. All of Juggernaut's things are safe. We can't screw with them. And well, seeing as most of Necro's units are mutated forms of flesh, plant and demon, we can't exactly possess them either. So
Yeah, there you go. There's me.
and then there's
Push us
you,
away.
who only if you're dumb enough to say, "Hey, yeah, sure, I'll join you." You can be as stupid as I am.
mean,
Sure, I'll help you.
It
and-
just
oh crap.
the reason that I said that, K-Man, about the skeletons and that is you said, well, once they die. The reason I brought that up is because, let's see, we have someone who can go and reanimate them so they're never truly dead.
Yeah, in fact, if they landed
well,
in Necro's,
now you got like, if the water's constantly going on, he's getting stronger. The marching band comes into play. Then you have Titan-sized marching bands
that's
playing
right.
around.
That's
So
right.
now, they're not going to attack my troops. They're not going to attack your troops. It's just in the way. It's something that Earl Grey spawned from his warp.
Well, right
That
now,
he parachutes in.
as usual, each of our armies has an advantage. Each of our armies has a major disadvantage. We
Mhm.
can't look over the fact that, yes, Necro didn't bring Titans, but the question is, did he really need to bring them? His seeds are capable
No.
of creating multiple versions of themselves. Once that gets out of hand, it doesn't matter how many Titans you bring to the planet, it's over. Because could you imagine if he was able to get one of his recyclers over to a Titan?
World ending.
Yeah, that planet has just become exterminatus right there. With Juggernaut, he actually has brought a brand new level of what to the battlefield, because now he not only has his ever-changing, adapting, and modular robots, but he has the new living metal angel type creatures that are the leaders of this group, which is just all the more you don't want to with him. He's got floating fortresses and seraphim weaponry. Yes, Necro only has the seats. No, he doesn't. He's quite
Who
literally
wants to start
transformed
off?
into the I want everything dead to I'm going to terraform and make everything on my side stronger.
Who's trying to start a holy war?
Yeah, who's trying to start a holy war? Not you pansy ass blood angels. Salamanders, you're cool. You can
But-
stay there. The rest of you die.
But you have to give yourself credit, Kaiju. You really do. Like that, your class titans and stuff like that, able to repair itself and just warp
Well,
in and out.
My guys, as I've been told by my buddy,
Yes,
are,
I know you say you're like the basic dude,
no,
but
no, no,
I mean,
no,
like, hey,
no. But my guys are more of the resourceful survivors. You know, my
yeah,
my
Swiss
titans,
Army knife.
my titans are strong in the we're defensive. We're not as strong as in we're offensive. We're going to outlast the battle. That's the whole Void's mentality. Our mentality is we're not going to win in one day. We'll take 60 days to take your planet, but during that time, you're constantly losing materials, and we're not losing anything.
My guys look at you. We cool.
Yeah, just yeah, we're cool. We're cool. Just can't take our
honestly,
stuff.
I'd honestly have to say, right here and now, that'll be on the stream to the end of time. The last two players in the 40k universe we've created is gonna honestly be Kaiju and Jug.
Well, I would
Because
like.
sooner or later, that Necro's gonna run out of corpses to feed on. I'm gonna be out of people, just in general.
Well, let's look at this from the point of view of the actual Warhammer universe, shall we? Now, as we know, the Warhammer universe is a vast universe. It's big, right?
Yeah.
They can literally say that the Emperor of Man owns over 1 million planets. That's big, okay? Like, that's a lot of planets. And you are part of that. You're off on your own section, but you still have your own people. Necro can continue to grow as long as there are bodies for him to grow off of. If we get enough Exterminatus on him, we could get rid of him, though. Juggernaut lives on the outskirts. We're only seeing his soldiers. He's basically another Tyranid swarm. Just the good kind, not the evil kind. But you, my friend, you're forgetting about one small detail, which makes a big difference here. In 40,000 years, Warhammer 40k, in 40,000 years, mankind is still alive. We should have been blown out a long time ago. That right there should be more than enough evidence to prove to you that the power of the human being is very strong in this world. And there's something else you need to know. You existed before the Horus Heresy. Juggernaut existed before the Horus Heresy. Necro and myself, we all existed before the Horus Heresy. Which means that we all have access to different vehicles and other such things that no longer exist because of what happened during the Horus Heresy.
Yep.
We have access to things.
And I have unfiltered information, knowledge.
Right. You have
It's not
knowledge.
been like, you know.
Yeah.
That
You have knowledge about
hasn't
things
been,
that no one knows about. No one knows
redacted.
about.
Yeah.
To you, your knowledge is just that. You don't know that, let's just say like 80% of the knowledge that you have should no longer be speakable amongst man. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just throw a big number
Yep.
in there because you existed before that. That is dangerous and powerful. All right? Juggernaut's people have existed outwards for a while. They're powerful, but they're basically new to the whole war thing. Necro used to be an unnamed chapter of the Space Marines, or multiple unnamed chapters of the Space Marines who got lost in the war and swore an oath to Tzeentch before the events of the 40k universe happened. There's no telling what kind of vehicles he has access to. And even my people. But each one of us also has a major flaw. For your people, you've been out of touch of your brethren for so long that you're basically heretical. Which means even though you are Space Marines and you're fighting the good fight and you're battling for the good battle for the Emperor's name, after the Horus Heresy, you're now a heretic. So all these other groups are against you.
Yep.
That's a major middle finger. All right? For Necro, it kind of goes hand in hand. He's a Chaos Marine. Not very looked well upon by the Emperor, the Emperor's people, the greater good, the Necrons, and all that. In fact, doesn't have many in the way of friends. Just saying.
Yep.
His weakness is the fact that he has no allies to back him up because every other one of the freaking princes is bowing before him, waiting for him to fail. That's it. They're waiting for him to fail. Juggernaut, though, Juggernaut's biggest flaw might just be the tipping point. You see, Juggernaut's units still have to be created. They're all mechanical, very special metals, which means he has to have something to back him up for that. He suffers from the fact that his unit costs are going to be much higher. That's not necessarily a bad thing with what they're packing, but it's a much more expensive existence. Plus, he's not the I'm going to conquer planets kind of guy. He is the, okay, this planet sucks, so what we're going to do is we're going to take what little technology we can find on your planet, and then we're going to pay for you to exist with our own technology, which also puts a huge penalty on his gains. For Necro, he just takes.
Plus, he's here to stop the war, so he has to protect anybody that's in danger of being annihilated.
Yep.
So theoretically, Jug and Kaiju would work in tandem in some macabre fashion.
We'd be more neutral. I think I would definitely be neutral towards Juggernaut.
Yeah.
I
guess you would have the similar goals. Like Jug wants to stop the war, you want to clean the war. So
I don't want to do that. The Watchers want to do that. I don't want to do that. They're forcing us. But the thing is, I'd also be neutral towards you, K-Man. The only one of us I couldn't be neutral towards would be Necro, and I'm pretty sure Necro's smart enough to avoid the area that I control for the time being.
Oh, Kyle, this is as far as I'm coming.
You stay over there. I'll stay over here. How you do, cuz? You know, with his expenses, your lost memories, his just lost humanity, then we get to me. What's my biggest flaw? Well, my biggest flaw is one of the biggest flaws in the game. I have a very limited range. Even if I take one of my top star transports and fly as fast as I can, unless I am back within void space within about 30 days, poof. I could be in an epic war to save somebody, and then the timer goes off, and we're all gone. I'm more of a, I'm more like a limited summon outside of the void. You know, I could be summoned for so long, but after that timer goes off, I'm back to the void. Because we can only exist outside of the void for so long now because of our connection to it.
Now, here is one quick question for you. Can a deacon or a priest summon you to a planet? Does it depend on distance or like how hard they're praying?
It would really depend on what they were following when it happened.
Oh, okay.
Technically, we could be summoned to a planet because the null void, as I'm going to call it right now, is just another null.
Yep.
Oh, well, now my day.
Sorry.
It's okay. Another gentleman that I know has passed on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, sorry.
I'll stand tall here. What I'm getting at is that much like a Chaos Daemon, I'm pretty sure that we could be summoned, but we'd have to be summoned by somebody who had a connection to the void or had learned how to control the void, in which case, yeah, we could show up there for a limited time.
Okay.
So what it is that I can even tell a story right now, so everyone here, get ready for this. This is the story that's kind of one of those two-stagers. What my people don't know is that, yes, the void is a finite source. It can only go so far. But what we weren't told is the fact that for every person who joins up to one of these symbiotes and thus becomes one of the Voidborn, the void increases just a little in size. However, what we weren't told is that these symbiotes can reproduce.
Oh.
And if they have children, that's more people that can be joined up to more people, thus spreading the void even further.
Oof.
Yes. So we're the good guys / bad guys / numbskulls. We have a lot to aid us in our combat. We're very stealthy. We're very defensive minded. But we're not the guy that's going to come breaking down your walls. We're going to be the guys that are throwing water balloons at your walls, hoping that eventually it'll moisten enough that causes the wall collapse. That's us. Juggernaut is the biggest threat here simply because, as we've seen before, all but 2 of his vehicles are flying units. And even his Titan can fly. So there ain't a wall or barricade that can stop him from coming at you. You have to destroy him, and you have to destroy him fast. For Necro, he's the slow game. In fact, in my headcanon that I've written up about him in my headcanon, there are several planets that have gone completely unnoticed because he's simply planted seeds of Necros and given them the ability to not attack anybody. And he's actually been very commonly on several planets that don't even know he's there yet. He doesn't have to kill everybody. He just wants to keep everybody ready for the day that he decides to off everybody. So for Necro, he's the slow, cunning guy. He's the guy that he'll attack you, but it'll be months before you. Unlike the Tyranids who are just going to attack you. Unlike the Orcs that are just going to attack you. Unlike Jug who's just going to attack you. Necro will be the guy who's just digging under your soil for months. And then he's just there. And as for you, you are quite the loose cannon here. Because the one thing you haven't told me yet, you brought it up, but the one thing you haven't told me yet is which side are you closer to? Are you closer to a Salamander type? Are you closer to a Death Guard type? Are you closer to a Blood Angel type? See, the thing about those Chaos Marines, which you happen to be a member of, is that while you were designed to be the perfect guardian of mankind, most of you guys are screw-ups and can't save any men.
No.
I'm just saying that if you look at the list of gentlemen who are there to save you, most of the time it's the Salamanders or the Salamander offshoots that are coming to save you. If any of the others land on the planet, 10 times out of 1 they're going to use you as a human shield or something. So where do you stand on that good morale? For instance, I'll give you the same existence I gave to Necro and Jug. A spaceship comes into your planet. It's badly damaged. They're sending a message to your people, can you save us? You get on board and find out that there's a bunch of neutral humans, no threats to you whatsoever. What do you do to them?
Oof.
For instance,
Honestly,
Juggernaut said he would scrap the ship for important parts, bring the people to his planet, and get them a ride out of there so they can just get the hell out of there. Necro basically said, hey, he's going to shut off the life support, and when they die, he's just going to bring them back. For me, I'm going to get their ship down. I'm going to repair it as fast as possible, get them out of here before they become Void Boy. What would you do to this particular vehicle? They're coming in. They need repairs. They're not going to be able to make it out of your range. You are their last hope. What do you do? What do your people do? No.
So basically, what was going to happen is I'd have them all documented and ask them if they wanted to join the Sons of Daughters of Cayman and give them food and medical supplies if you need. I may have Tech Priests scour the ship, any new components we don't know or any new technologies. If they said, thank you so much, but we want to go back to our own planet, we would escort them to the planet.
Okay, so that right there is what I considered a good aligned character. So if you met up with the Marines, you'd be more likely to side with the Salamanders, right? That kind of group?
Yeah.
Okay, so that puts you up on a very high pedestal, my friend. And what that means is, while you may be xenophobes, because of course you don't like aliens, Juggernaut here, living robots, would probably come to your aid. You're a good person, you're doing good things. How you react to them, that's different. You know, Space Marines are kind of xenophobic naturally. What I'm getting at is, that right there puts you on a higher pole. I'm not going to fuck with you. You're keeping the people safe, you're keeping the people happy. Hey, better for you, I like that. I like the Salamanders. Necro.
I like numbers.
Now,
I like more people
I say that
in my army.
now if it was like a uh heretical ship, like a ship crash, like landed on my planet,
Mhm.
and there's like people who play to corn or just heretics,
Mhm.
or I don't know. Let's say just say corn. They're
Okay.
the followers of corn.
Okay.
I would still offer them, say, hey, would you like to join us?
Okay.
We're not heretical. We're not followers of corn. Would you dispel your belief in corn? Follow us, become members of our own family,
Mhm.
and because we're one big happy family here, and we don't intend to wipe out and conquer every planet
Mhm.
that doesn't align with us,
Mhm.
Hey,
unless
anybody,
Earl Grey is in a mood. But
hey,
that's besides the point right now.
anybody when he just said that we're a big happy family got some Anderson vibes there or something. I'm not sure.
No.
Just
Okay. So the hereticals land. You give them a chance. I'll only ask you the third question. This is the important one. A Tau ship lands.
Mm.
He's trying to swallow that pride. He's trying to swallow it. Let me put it this way: all three of those ships, the humans, the hereticals, and the Tau, all get the same thing from me. We fix your ship. Go. Please just
Yeah.
leave.
they get the same thing from me.
Which is he's going to eat
I'd
some
rather,
brains.
I know Tau have heavy artillery and scary things. So repair what they need to repair, send them on their way, and hope that we gave them a nice parting gift of food and medical supplies
That you're in
and
their good
no
graces.
good graces, and they don't come back with a Titan or
And the
something
last person
else.
I got to ask this for, because Necros basically said the answer's the same for all of them. Juggernaut! The Chaos Marines crash onto one of your worlds. What do you do?
Scan first.
Okay? They have demonic
See if
makeup.
they're see if they're carrying anything.
Okay?
They're Chaos Space Marines, so yeah, they're gonna have like chain swords,
He
heavy
means
bolters.
like advanced tech. He's talking like advanced tech.
Okay.
Okay, they don't
Yeah,
show up with advanced tech.
his
If
group is all about advanced tech, so anything advanced they want.
If they don't have any advanced tech on them,
Mhm.
I offer to help. I offer to fix up anything they want, like fix up their ship
Mhm.
and send them on their way. Now, if they're hostile,
Which they will be.
that's a different story.
That sounds like you're going to make them less hostile, if you know what I mean. The
I'm
pacifistic way, of course.
I'm going to make sure that if they have a chainsaw blade, it is going to be shoved up a certain
Yep.
body part.
It's totally pacifist here. Now the Tau land.
Turned
No.
on, and just
Let it
let
rip.
it happen.
The Tau land. They're an
Now-
alien race. Their technology is advanced, but you don't know if you can actually work it. What do you do?
I try and be friends with them.
All right, see, he's on the good tree. He's on the good tree as well. In fact, the only one
I
that
have
seems
to
yes.
slightly recant my statement.
Okay.
If a heretical ship lands on my planet and there's men, women, and children on board,
Uh-huh.
I will take the women and children off the ship, and I'll ask both parties if they want to, come join us.
Uh-huh.
If the women and children want to come join us, I will freely let them come join us, and if possible, get them on another ship and send them back to where they came from. But if the men refuse to take up arms, they will be killed.
All right. Well, that's acceptable. That's an acceptable thing. All right.
Don't shoot me. I won't shoot you. If you want
I've-
stuff and need help, I will help.
So I've got a question, K-Man, and I've got a question for Necro because I ain't gonna mess with Kaiju.
Wow.
Because no, and there's a reason why.
Okay.
I doubt that I would be able to go into the void. My units going into the
yeah,
void.
they would run away. Yeah, that is true.
I land on your world. Both of your, Necro, I land on your world. K-Man, I land on your world. and I come a knocking, what do you do?
Huh. Well,
Ooh.
seeing as you could have those angels and those Medusas, I think we could work
No,
something.
no. Let's just say it's infantry.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
my guys can technically still take over some of your units, so
yep. And came out.
Ooh. I have my high priest chant and pray and have psychers detect what you are and your intentions for the mental battles. And then I have my recon units scout you out and to see what's going on. If you fire the first shot,
Why?
then
Why is Kaiju kind of smiling?
because if you fire the first round, you can shoot a stump on our planet.
No,
We're
think about it.
obliterating you.
No,
what I mean is, when he said the whole psychers are going to sit there and read your minds, I'm sitting there going, what minds? They're
what
just,
minds?
they're just
These
robot
Oh
minds-
minds.
yeah, robots.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, I forgot robots.
He's
You
just,
have to remember. You have to remember. Your psychers read my mind. All they're hitting is zeros and ones, man.
and sometimes
Until
but
There's
still,
a 2 in there! What the fuck was that 2? God damn that 2!
but yeah, I mean,
um,
you can't put
If
any of
you-
us a high grade because if you want to look at it from the way of 40K, each of us are about the same. We all have our own connected strengths. We all have our connected weaknesses. The problem is that I and Juggernaut are the enigmas to the world of 40K. We are the enigmas. The reason is, well, Juggernaut is trying to stop a bad thing from happening to 40K. Not many groups out there are going to do that. And every group out there wants to spread and take over planets. That's a goal that every group has. Even the Tau have that ability. I don't have that. I don't want to take over planets. I want people to leave my planets alone. So we have one person whose main goal is to save everything. He's an enigma. We have another person who doesn't want to take over planets because I'm afraid the void will spread to those planets. But you and
so now I
Necro-
pose a question.
Yes.
You and Kaiju, you and Jug and Kaiju. If my guiding force were to land on your planet, how would you greet us?
Well, I would greet you, Necro, and Juggernaut the same way. The warp doesn't immediately start to take, or sorry, the void doesn't immediately start to kill you. It doesn't immediately take away your psychic capabilities. You can land on my planet. You can pass through the void, no problem, John. It takes time. I would greet each of you the same way. Are you here for business? Are you here for protection? Are you here for war? Which one of those are you here for? If you say, I'm here for business, well, obviously you're a trader. I'm not going to pass up the opportunity. I'll give you the warning that you have to be out of here by so quick to save you from becoming part of the void. If you came here for safety or to defend or to possibly talk about a peace treaty, I'm willing to hear you out. I'm willing. As long as you realize that you're on a timer and you have to get off at this time. You're coming here for war, well then, allow me to go put my pants on and we can see what we can do here. My strength comes from diminishing...
Scouting force.
Sultan!
Fulton.
Yeah. My power comes from the fact that over time, anything that has the ability called machine spirits or as a psyker will slowly lose that ability. That's why fighting me with a Titan is a very bad idea. Titans are massive. I have a very big machine spirit, but the more powerful the spirit is, the faster the void snuffs that sucker out.
Yeah.
So
what was the question, K-Man?
how would you
If,
react to him landing on your property? Like, even if Necro landed on my property and said, I'm here to do trading, all right, we'll do trading. I don't care. Just don't screw with anything. If he says, I'm here for an alliance,
I
fine.
wouldn't do war because I get nothing out of the deal.
Yeah, but Necro literally gets nothing from me out of the deal. He kills my soldiers should reappear. We just turn into dust and reappear. That's the problem. However, I have put in my lore that there is a weapon that's in control of the Necrons. Or at least it was as they're the ones who killed off the predecessors and stole all their tech. So unless they broke, it's still there. They have the only thing that can stop the void. And the only reason why the Necrons haven't used it yet is the void said, "We're here to stop the chaos waste." And they, wait, what? You're here to actually stop that from happening? Come on in! Come on, go!
I know what the weapon is.
Yes, you know what it is.
The sponge of the day.
Oh, God, it's not the
A massive sponge of the day.
sponge of the month.
What I would do, K-Man, what I would do is I would send a small greeting party out to see what you're there for.
Would you be? Is your entity? Would you be willing to trade, or is that not something you would be accustomed to?
I would be
because you are robotic, so
I
would
would
that
be
be like necessary?
What I would be looking for would be the advanced tech.
I would also be more worried if some of your guards are walking up and they're like, "Ah, Master Juggernaut, it's good to see you." Because his infiltrators could just be there, you know.
But I would be looking for advanced tech. If you want to trade a couple things, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. If you're there for war, you would have 30 seconds to vacate
the premises before he would engage in war. You have 30 days to change your mind, or else. Like I said, each of our groups has a strength. For Necro, it's the ability to spread the undeath. It's a never-ending cycle. Much like Zinch or Slanesh, once the word starts whispering, people will start opening up little cults for him, and that'll just attract him. Just like every other one of the Chaos Gods. So with Necro, it's like an inevitable thing for him. For Juggernaut, he's there to stop this. Once he stops this event from happening, he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't got to stick around. He's done. I ain't babysitting the rest of you first. Peace out. He's just going to leave. So if we helped him out, that'd be a way to get him out here faster. My people are trying our best to spread the void to its maximum and then just stop. That's it. Once the maximum is reached, they can't spread it anymore. I'm done. I'm done. The void one, in other words.
I see myself more as the first part of the aliens that came down in the Twilight Zone episode to serve mankind.
Oh, okay.
Now, you on the other hand, K-Man, you have one of the greatest advantages over all of us. Okay? You are a Space Marine chapter who is not xenophobic. You do not immediately see hereticals as a threat. You want to help them so they can get off your planet. And you are still a believer that, the Emperor of Man's great glow still encompasses you, and you are still fighting this war. That gives you the advantage of being one of the greatest groups ever, because obviously you're part of the Salamanders in a sense. There's definitely a camaraderie between you guys. But the other advantage comes down to one thing. I am a several hundred-year-old Imperial Guardsman before the frickin' Justicars happened and anything like that. I don't know any of that happened. So I'm a little off my rocker. You would be too if you were possessed by a symbiotic creature who wouldn't let you die, but also won't let your mind falter. Juggernaut, he's just there to stop a bad thing from happening, and then he leaves. So he's not even a positive threat to you. I'm not even a positive threat to you. However, just pointing fingers towards the
that dude.
Just a little nod, wink.
Nudge.
He is the actual threat to you. He is a chaos god, so obviously he's what you're against. I do not see a parley between you two. I see a die zombie scum, and one of his goes, "I'm a vampire a-hole." That's what I see. Okay?
And the thing is, and I'm not saying this to be insulting, I'm really no threat to you, and you're really no threat to me.
Yeah, seeing as advanced technology has partaken away from all of us. Face facts.
True.
All of us somehow, without talking about it, we didn't talk about this either. All this existed before the Horus Heresy. But I existed before the Fight of Man, where they destroyed the AI. I am an ancient person. But in the void, there is no semblance of time. So, to you, I walked into your kingdom and annihilated everything. It was the most dangerous day you ever had. For me, it was Tuesday the 20th of 2015.
Okay, M. Bison.
But you see, to me, it's like whenever I meet somebody, I'm like, what time is it? It's not to be an insult. I need to know what day it is, because in the void, time works like this.
Which is sad with the army I've created. Yes, I'm borderline heretical because I'm not following completely with the Emperor of Mankind, but I'm still find the quote unquote good fight, wherever you want to how to phrase that aspect of it.
And I'm sure
but what is really sad is that the Primarchs that are loyal to the Imperial Man would consider me a heretic, and if they would see me on another planet, would possibly attack.
Not exactly, actually. I've actually looked this one up for the Warhammer series. Your existence actually saves you from being heretical. Because you existed...
That's a borderline heretical, though.
You'd be borderline. Yeah. They'd be less trusting of you. But they wouldn't attack you. I was like, if anything, they'd probably be ecstatic to see you. If you are one of the original Primarchs, which you claim to be already, I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
You've been missing for so much time. Like, this would be like if your hero was Steve Irwin, and one day you walked down the street like 30 years from now and found out he was actually still alive. He just wanted to stop being a crocodile hunter, and he helped you out. You'd be ecstatic to see him, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the same thing with you. Your advantage is, yes, you are semi-heretical, but it can be forgiven because of, well, you don't know any better. It's that simple. You have the advantage of being the Swiss Army knife that holds us. Yeah. All right? Juggernaut here, he's not a threat to anybody unless you stand in his way.
Sure.
He's got to go onto this planet and stop this from happening. Well, I happen to protect this planet. You're not stepping on it. And time's up.
Literally.
While I would love to hear you complain about the infinite heat death of the universe, I literally have shit to do. Goodbye. That's Juggernaut. Necro is well, I'm going to take over your planet. No, you're not. I'm going to stop you. You didn't let me finish in about 3 more minutes because we're already there and I own your planet. Wait, what? You know, kind of a threat. He's along the same lines of Nurgle.
Kind of an asshole.
Yeah, he's kind of
an asshole.
He's like Nurgle or Tzeentch. He doesn't just appear. He's been there. For me, I'm the story of I'm the story of an Imperial whose entire part of the galaxy has been exterminated. It doesn't exist anymore. None of the planets that were in my entire galaxy exist anymore. They were all part of the Horus Heresy. They were all destroyed. So everything that I had no longer exists.
It's almost like I was thinking about this. You look at my infantry, the ones that can look like other. Who's to say that I'm not sending in people that look like the Tau or the Space Marines or whatever.
Especially since he already has people that does that.
Using their old ships just to constantly watch.
Right. Remember, Juggernaut isn't the threat. He's the solution. Necro, Khorne, Nurgle, Tzeentch, Slaanesh, they are the threat. Necro is one of those threats. To me, he is not a threat. To me, he is literally just another person. He's just another Slaanesh. They can't.
Yes, because I can't. I have no use for him.
He can't kill me. The symbiotes keep him from changing my mind. So I cannot be warped by them. So for me, it's just like he's just another person. For Juggernaut, he's not gonna come near me. He's gonna see my little slash of universe. He's gonna scan it, see we got nothing advanced. He's gonna maybe I'll go see if they want some Taco Bell or something. And you you have no reason to come see me either.
The only way that I would,
Unless I'm going through the warp and I end up on your planet accidentally.
Yeah, and then you end
like
up,
how
you go through the warp and end up in the void, which can happen, by the way. It can happen.
Yeah.
In which case, you couldn't have a reason to be like, hey, you okay? You need directions. Go that way about 400 parsecs, and you're safe.
the only reason I would want to go see Kaiju is to talk diplomacy or just.
Now, according to the story I've written, the many Space Marine chapters do know and despise me.
Oh.
For the reason of the fact that I am pretty much allied with the Tau and the Vazels and all those. Like, I'm allied with them because they're traders. They trade with me. I trade with them. And of course,
And
how
plus,
most
you want to
Marines
get
are.
rid of the warp.
Yeah, and I want to get rid of the warp. So I mean, that's the good side. But the bad side is like I'm friends with all these Xenos and they don't like it. However, they're also pretty stupid people if you look at it from the long run. They keep trying to attack me, and I keep like, stop. Just stop. The sisters,
gift for the void.
the sisterhood of the Astrades actually enjoys me. Anyone with a mind like the Salamanders likes me, so obviously you'd like me. But any group that's out there for just straight up war hates me. The Necrons,
Except for one.
like he's okay with it. Like the Necrons enjoy the fact that my goal is to shut up the warp. They like that. They're also the only ones who have access to the weapon that can stop me, if it still exists. The Tyranids don't like me. The Orcs definitely don't like me. The Dark Eldari don't like me. Most Space Marines hate me. Most Imperial Guardsmen despise me. So when you're looking through the list of friendlies, I don't have a lot. But it's just hard to get rid of me. I'm like a cockroach. You smash me on the head, and there's 40 more. Juggernaut has a mission to do. Necro wants to kill off all life in the galaxy. And there's you.
Yep.
But once again, no matter how powerful we are, what comes down to it is the board game that says that each one of these units is worth this many points.
Yep.
Some of Juggernaut's small units would be worth more than my units would be. Some of them would be worth way more than Necro's units would be. Some will be worth way more than your units would be, and so on and so forth, and vice versa. What it comes down to is which group do we have the biggest fear of? Like, which of our groups, if we came a knocking and said, hey, we're coming for war, which one of us would you actually be afraid of? For me, it's spelled out very simply, very easy. I'm afraid of Juggernaut. I am terrified of Juggernaut. The reason why, I was alive when the Tyranids first came. He's like the Tyranids. That's flashback right there. Mm-hmm. Necro, he can't do anything to me. I can't do anything to him. He's just an annoyance. And you have a mentality like the Salamanders, which means I like you. But if Jug came a knocking, I'd be closing windows and locking doors. Juggernaut, who do you fear the most?
Necro.
Yep, Necro's never-ending armies. Necro, which of us do you fear the most?
I gotta say Juggernaut.
K-Mod, which of us do you fear the most?
I fear you, Kaiju.
So, we have people who fear everybody. I'm cool with that. Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
Juggernaut,
Yeah.
Necro, you cool? Now, next Tuesday, we will be talking about the Navy, Zoltek.
Zoltan?
In the Navy.
Which, according to the rule, is not submarines and sailboats, by the way. These are the vehicles that occupy space. And some of the sizes of these things.
Yeah, they get massive.
Oh,
They get massive.
Did you know that there's a 366,000-ton vehicle that is owned by the Emperor of Man? It has to be transported to planets, which means there's something large enough to carry a 366,000-ton vehicle.
I think that's the Ultramarine planet where they make this, where they find their Space Marines. I believe. I
Yeah.
could be wrong on that aspect.
That's right. I believe that's a Space Marine vehicle. Yeah. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah. So quickly before we go, I have a little story time
Okay.
for us. So the Ultramarine Primarch is a Root Gilliman, and he's one of the top notch. He made the list of all the other Space Marines Primarchs in our chapters and how they're supposed to like regiment everything.
Daddy's
And
boy.
yeah, he's like, here is Horus, and there's Robuta Gilliman right underneath him. Well, Sanguinius was right there, but we're not gonna get into that.
No
right
one
now.
talks about Sanguinius.
Except the Blood Angels,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, no one
So-
talks about him.
Is that like Bruno? Nobody talks about Bruno.
Yeah, no one
Yeah,
ever talks
yeah,
about
basically.
Sanguinius. We don't talk about Sanguinius.
So, Gilliman actually went and confronted an Eldar. I think I'd have to double check on the lore, but basically, they had a conversation,
Mhm.
and the Eldar said to Gilliman, and he said, "The Emperor of Man is like a god, even though he didn't want to become a god. People pray and believe him to be a god, and miracles have been done in his name, and they attribute him to be a god. What says you are not a god?" And
yeah.
he says, well, Gilliman says to the Eldar, it says, "I'm not a god because I'm not a psyker. I'm a man." But the Eldar said, "Well, no, because you are so above a mere mortal. They look up to you as a god. And one man who goes through the warp amplifies his emotions, can twist the time of fate and open chaos portals. But one man can do that. What says that if not a million souls that follow you, that are slaves or imperial troops that follow you, or your own space marines that follow you, start to pray to you, and miracles get attributed to you? Would say that you will
what
become a
time
god
will
then.
happen when the first miracle is sung upon? It's not just
Yep.
one voice that appears. What about a million, a billion voices? How soon until you are bathed in the glory of miracles upon miracles? I remember hearing that.
Yeah.
I remember reading that. He's
And
also
even
like,
though some of them may attribute that as well, yes, that's amazing. It's just like it amplifies it. It's like, what are we truly doing? We're because even the Emperor of Man said, "You are not my sons. You are instruments of mankind to be beacons and pillars to society of the empire.
they're really good at doing
I
that.
created you to spread across the universe to do great things. And if you do enough great things, people will worship you because in the 4K universe, you live and die. It is the most excruciating, painful thing to be an Imperial man. I sorry to say that, but yeah, it's god awful. Either you're in the army or you're basically a slave and you work until the day you die. So, and you see these Space Marines, you see the Primarch, which you almost rarely ever see. But if you do, he towers above you like a god. And
You suck.
with the
Go
Eldar
away.
being
Let's go.
beyond the time of reason, and Jug's army, Kaiju's army, it just everything's amplified to the
Mhm.
point of insanity.
Mhm.
Where does it end? Is it going to be multiple gods, gods, and gods, and gods? Because eventually, I think it's chronicled that the God Emperor, his rotting skeleton will turn to dust. Yes, his 1,000 souls are killed in order to keep him alive, but eventually he's going to disappear to time. Time will take him, and the warp won't be open. So will another man sit on the golden throne to keep the warp open, and he be propped up as a god, as a god emperor of mankind? Only time will tell, and that's the kind of chaotic, kind of cool thing about 40K and that lore.
Yeah. We are all just a part of the story. That's all we are, gentlemen. Juggernaut, you are a part of the story, just as I am part of the story, and Necro's part of the story, and heck, even K-Mon here. Actually, K-Mon's probably the most complicated one out of all of us. Because there's one other thing I forgot to mention. He doesn't know about the Space Emperor falling.
Yeah.
Remember, you've been lost to the warp, so you don't know anything about Gilliman taking the throne or anything like that. What happens when you find out?
I don't know. Only time will tell. I have to figure out a story for that. But yeah.
Yeah. But, gentlemen, I would like to say that I would not want to fight against any of your army. Y'all scared me. You're all very frightening individuals, whether it be flying frying pans, flying frying arrows, or flying frying dead corpses. I don't want to fight any of you. I want you to go away. I'm gonna go hide. You can go away.
Yeah, I won't fuck with you, Kyle.
Thank you. Appreciate it. But no, I mean,
Yeah, same.
so I was looking.
I think I wouldn't want to mess with any one of you guys. And if we were to have like a tabletop match, it would last for days.
Oh yeah, it would.
Days.
No offense to Juggernaut or K-Mod, but I can turn some of your units, so yeah. Simple-minded. You got things I can turn. I.
Well,
Saturation bombing. Saturation bombing.
Speaking of this, there is one thing I have to bring up for next week. Gentlemen, and I use that term very lightly, next week brings Navy, which includes starports, star stations, starfighters, star transport, that kind of stuff. But there's a catch.
Okay.
You see, one thing that's never used in Warhammer video games, 40K, etc., is the extraneous weapons, aka the planet killers. You're all going to need one. So when it comes to next week, you're going to need 9 aerial spaceships, Zoltan. And 1 extraneous weapon. Even if it happens to be a spaceship that's loading it, I need 1.
Okay.
Now, folks, we've run our gun. So, once again, at the end of this, I'm going to put up a little sheet for tomorrow. That'll say which one of our armies you feel is the strongest. And next week, we will have the one thing that I'm actually the most terrified of. Because, well, I've actually looked up a few things, and I'm going to be honest with you. Him and him frighten me right now. And K-Man definitely frightens me with his exterminator's weapons. Oh, there!
Mama Bear!
Nippers.
And she is the underdog. She frightens all of us.
Well, her units specialize in space combat, so she'll have the advantage. But until next week, folks, I am, of course, that kooky Kaiju K.
I'm Necro Nick.
I'm Juggernaut Jared.
I am K-Man.
And we'll catch you all in the future, everyone. Peace out, and may the Emperor bless you.
Fuck you!
Indeed.